The Aelred Chronicles, the complete saga.
Wow. You've been hanging on this cliff for quite a while now.
Shut up. This is the story of the truck driver who put his finger up at some guys from our school. He puts up his finger and he's all like, yeah, I put my finger up at a bunch of kids, fucking well hard me hurt. Then he goes home and tells his mom. He's all like, yeah mom, I put me finger up at a bunch of kids, fucking well hard. And his mom goes, what have I told you about putting your finger up at little kids? Dad, get in here. And his dad comes in and goes, what the fuck have you been doing to little kids? And he takes his belt off, so the guy's all like, no daddy no. This is the story of Grant. He comes home and he's all like, Mom you slag, where's me tea? And his mom's all like, watch your fucking mouth boy or I'll stab you. So he sits down and waits for his tea and he's all like, chicken dippers, chicken dippers. Chicken dippers. Chicken dippers, chicken dippers, chicken dippers. He gets his tea and it's chicken dippers. He takes a bite. He throws the plate at the wall and goes, Mom you slag, clean it up. And his mom's all like, what did I fucking tell you about swearing? And she stabs him. Lol. This is the story of Carl's posse and Mike. Mike is sitting on a computer in ICT looking at pictures of WWE divas. He starts to play with himself. Gross. He's all like, oh yeah. Mr. Lewis starts to walk over. Mike quickly tries to stash his little man but has a little trouble. He goes, oh shit, it's stuck nerd. He quickly turns off the monitor as Mr. Lewis arrives. Mr. Lewis asks, Michael, why's your monitor off? Mike goes, no sir, don't turn it on. Lewis turns it back on and Mike's all like, shit. As punishment he is locked in a cage and suspended in the middle of the room while everyone else is allowed to poke him with sticks. Carl and his posse show up and Carl goes, Mike nerd, you're in trouble, lol. Crony number 3, go under the cage and poke him. As ordered, number 3 stands under the cage and tries to poke Mike. James stealthily enters the room and cuts the rope suspending the cage. It falls and crushes number 3. James then kicks Crony number 1 in the balls and they explode. Carl is all like, number 2, attack. Number 2 attacks but James pokes him in the eye and he stumbles backwards and out the window. Number 4 shits it and runs off while number 5 cowers under a table. Carl jumps out the window in an attempt to escape. James hits number 5 on the head with a monitor and chases number 4. He finds number 4, who has tripped over Carl since Carl forgot that the room is on the 2nd floor. Chris Byrne lifts up Carl and Ryan lifts up number 4. James hits number 4 on the head with a steel chair. He turns and RKO's Carl. That's what happens to cyberbullies. This is the story of Augie. Chris Byrne's hanging out with Rach and he's all like, proper buzzing mate. Then Augie comes over and he's all like, what the fuck you doing with my bird? And Byrne's all like, ST if you Augie before I twat ya, JK. And Augie goes, that's it, I'm calling Big Johnny. He gets out his phone and goes, Johnny Mert, help me out. Johnny comes and he sees Byrne and goes, read Byrne lad. And Byrne goes, yeah proper buzzing with me bird. And Johnny's all like, me and Byrne are Mert stickhead. He grabs Augie and choke slams him through a table conveniently placed there by A's. Augie goes, W, T, F, and dies. Byrne goes, tard Johnny. And Johnny goes, no probs Mert. This is the story of Fred and his arch nemesis. Fred walks into the classroom and he's all like, alright boys, where's Byrne? And James is all like,
how the fuck should I know you fat fuck? You always ask where Byrne is and say boys a lot.
And Fred goes, ST if you boys. And James says,
you fat prick.
And Ryan goes, well. Then Byrne shows up and is all like, James is fuming. And Hayes adds, that is proper, blurp that mate. This is the story of the mom called Jones. In year 7 a knife is found in his bag. He takes it out of his bag and he's all like, I hear voices in my head, they come to me, they understand, they talk to me. The knife says to him,
Chris Byrne put me in your bag, you must destroy him.
Jones says, but I don't like people touching me. The knife says,
Serve me slave, kill Burn.
Jones tells the teachers that Burn put it in his bag and Burn's all like, yeah, it was proper me hurt, JK. Then Jones says, the raffle knife commands blood Burn. See? Listen.
Blood please, K thanks lol.
Burn grabs Jones's wrist and twists it. Jones drops the knife and Burn punches him in the face. He looks at the raffle knife and goes, soft, and walks off. During the PE lesson the evil spirit splits and enters a number of shoes. After the lesson, anyone who holds one of the shoes is possessed. Jones walks in and Winters is all like,
Our time to die, Jones, time to die.
He throws the shoe and it hits Jones in the face. Winters passes out and Jones goes, the voice from my head. I thought you was dead. And Alamore says,
You failed to kill Burn, now, you must die.
He and 5 random cameos throw their shoes and they all hit Jones in the head and he falls down. He dies. The only remaining shoe is worn by Mr. Gillon who says,
Get ready to die mate, in case you can't tell, I am Scouse.
Burn walks in, sees the carnage and is all like, oh, Rick Rooney. Gillon slams him against a wall and shouts,
I are not Rooney, I are the Rolfo Wraith, prepare to die.
Ryan and Hayes hit Gillon in the back of each leg and James hits him in the face with a rounder's bat. He hands it to Burn and is all like,
Finish it Burn. You have the power.
Hayes takes the shoe off and is all like, I hears voices in my head that come to me, they understand, they talk to me, they tell me things that I will do, they show me things I'll do, they talk to me. Ryan knocks the shoe out of his hand and Burn jumps and hits the shoe so hard it rips apart. The raffle wraith starts to fade away and is all like,
You may have defeated me Burn, but you cannot defeat the order of the text. Soon your friends will all die at the hands of my brother, starting with Grant.
Burn responds with, Grant's not my mate, JK. Grant shows up and is all like, Get the chicken Burn. Burn goes, I take back the JK, and hits Grant with the bat and says, soft, and walks away. This is the story of Augie, again. Augie walks into the classroom and Shaz is all like, the Augie love, and Augie goes, oh read Shaz, oh read Grant. Grant is just like, chicken dippers, chicken dippers, chicken dippers. Get the chicken. Augie goes on a computer and goes on MSN. He suddenly stands up and he's all like, what? Miss Nash says, Augie what are you doing? Augie goes, Miss they're calling me gay cunt on MSN. That's it now miss, I'm going to see Mr. Marr. He barges into Mr. Marr's office and is all like, Sir they're calling me gay cunt. Mr. Marr reaches into a drawer. He pulls out his signature golden Glock and goes, Augie, fuck you. He shoots Augie who dies, again. This is the story of one of our teachers called the Dragon Lady. She gives us our work back and is all like, There's not enough to kill here you piece of shit, do it again. She claims that Burn made up the prices for a visit that wasn't going to happen either way. Even worse, James puts that a trip starting at 7:15 and ending at 7:43 would take 28 minutes and she is all like, These timings are wrong, are you fucking stupid boy? He checks on a calculator, sees that it's right, and says,
Are you?
She is clearly pissed off cause she's all like, I can get you kicked out at 6-4. And Burn replies, KK lol. Then she goes, And I can't stop you from going to open tellers. Gaze says, But it's part of our course. That would be preventing our learning you fucking bitch. The dragon starts fuming, literally. She blasts him with her fire breath, yes, fire breath, and he dies. Don't worry Hazel fans, he'll be back. They always come back. Spence walks in and the dragon goes, Where the fuck have you been? He responds, I didn't know where we were. She shouts, You should do. Spence shouts, I'm not psychic. The dragon prepares her breath again but Ryan jumps on her back while James stabs her, in the eye with a pen. It's all like, No. My dragon powers fail me. Have fun at open tellers. It'll be the last time you do. She sprouts wings and flies through a window. Burn says, What do you think she meant by that? James replies,
There's another trilogy coming up.
Everyone else is all like, No. 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 The travel and tourism class is going to Alton Towers for a trip. Each person is allowed to invite one other person. Chris Byrne invites his girlfriend Rach, Ryan invites Tom Cummings, Hayes invites MC, Fred invites a girl he likes but gets turned down, Alex invites Kurt, Vanessa invites Big Johnny, Jenny invites some chavvy guy who flees the country the day before the trip, Spence invites Alan for giggles, Craig invites Ian, and James invites his good friend Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everyone is on the minibus except for Fred who hasn't arrived yet. Mrs. Mather is all like,
"Everyone is here except Fred, what should we do?"
And Byrne suggests, "Let's just go without him." Everyone goes, "Okay." Fred suddenly arrives and goes, "Alright boys." Everyone else goes, "No." As Arnold watches Fred sit down, he looks out the back and sees the dragon lady walking towards the minibus. He grabs the bus driver and says,
"Get out."
He throws the bus driver out the window and takes over. As he starts to drive away, the dragon starts running after the bus. She jumps and grabs onto the back bumper and is dragged along the road. Arnold turns a corner sharply but the dragon doesn't fall. She begins to reach out for Byrne. Arnold goes to Mrs. Mather.
"Here, take the wheel."
She does. Arnold moves to the back of the minibus, reaches into his utility belt and pulls out a double-barreled shotgun and is all like,
"Hasta la vista, baby."
He shoots the dragon in the face and she falls. An oncoming truck runs her over, flips, lands, and explodes. Arnold takes the wheel again and says,
"I need a vacation."
Hayes asks, "Is she dead?" Arnold replies,
"She'll be back."
James points out,
Although she did bleed when she got shot, and as we all know,
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
the class arrives at Alton Towers. Byrne goes on Oblivion with MC, Kurt, Ian, and Arnold. At the top the ride suddenly stops. The ride suddenly shakes. They all look back and see the dragon lady on the ride with no face. She's all like, "Extreme, release." MC picks up a 2x4. Kurt reveals his brass knuckles. Byrne shows his combat knife. Ian gets out a rounder's bat, the same one Byrne used against the evil shoe, and Arnold breaks the safety rail off and uses that. The dragon rushes Byrne. Arnold smashes her with the bar. She recovers and knocks Arnold off. Kurt jumps in and punches her in the artist formerly known as face. She bats him off but he holds on to the side. Ian and Byrne help him back up while MC covers them. He hits her with the 2x4 so she sets it on fire. He drops it and the whole ride begins to burn. Ian throws the bat at her. She dodges, and moves right into the path of Byrne's knife that he threw and it stabs her in the throat. She mutates into her true form. Have you ever seen The Goblet of Fire? The dragon now chases Harry. It wasn't CG. She prepares her fire breath, and is hit with a missile from below. Arnold is still alive. He launches 3 missiles into her mouth. She explodes quite spectacularly. Byrne grabs the wings and he and his buddies use them as parachutes. When they land, Byrne goes, "Where's Arnold?" James goes,
he told me his true origin. Arnold Schwarzenegger is actually a machine sent back in time to protect the leader of the human resistance against the machines, Chris Byrne. In the future, Byrne will teach humans how to fight Skynet by saving files with ridiculous file names and uploading them into Skynet's database. Unable to comprehend the files, Skynet will shut down and humans will rebuild. They will achieve a utopian civilization and make first contact with extraterrestrial life, all because of Byrne's hyperactive personality. He was sent to protect Byrne from Skynet's assassin. Both arrived 40 years too early, so he decided to become a bodybuilder, actor and politician as something to do to pass time. He told James Cameron about his future and Cameron based the Terminator on it. Skynet was actually created by the order of the text. That's why they hate Byrne so much.
Byrne goes, "What the fuck?" Although the dragon lady has been slain, the story of Alton Towers continues. Hayes is all like, "Wait, I thought this was a trilogy. There are 4 parts to this story." James goes,
Yeah, about that.
He gets Hayes with the sweet chin music and runs off. He stops outside a KFC to catch his breath and sees Grant sitting next to the window. Have a guess what he's eating? Go ahead. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the answer is chicken dippers. Chicken dippers, chicken dippers, chicken dippers, chicken dippers, chicken dippers. James sees this travesty and is all like,
Grant, your obsession has gone too far. Now you'll pay for ruining my life.
He picks up a chair and throws it through the window like in the Terminator Salvation trailer. The chair hits Grant in the head and cleans him out. A few minutes later he wakes up and goes, where am I? Who am I? What's this in my hand? A chicken dipper? No! I despise chicken dippers. Get it away! He throws it and it hits the truck driver from episode 1 on the back of the head. After he put his finger up at a bunch of kids, he was kicked out by his parents, he lost his job, his girlfriend broke up with him, his car was taken away, he served 3 months in prison, and he was forced to get a job at KFC just to make ends meet. You may think, wait, if he works at KFC then why was he driving the coach 2 episodes ago? The answer is, he wasn't. It was his septupled brother, Coach. During this time he joined the Augie clan and started to act like him. He turns around and goes, oh, Rick Grant. Tom Cummings, who had followed James, shows up and is all like, you're the bastard who put his finger up at us and ruined my birthday. You're gonna die now, bitch. A wrestling ring appears out of nowhere and Ryan and Byrne appear at the announcer's table with James as the special guest referee. The Titan drum appears and the 2 contestants prepare to walk down the ramp. Hayes makes his epic return announcing the wrestlers. He's all like, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for tonight's main event. The following contest is scheduled for one fall, and is to determine the World Swimming Federation Cruiserweight Champion. On the way to the ring, weighing in at 125 pounds, the World Swimming Federation Cruiserweight Champion, Tom, the Power, Cummings. And the opponent, weighing in at 356 pounds, the truck driver. Ryan rings the bell and the match begins. Tom spears driver and Ryan goes sick, OMFG. Spear. Tom runs to the ropes, runs and jumps over driver to the other ropes, runs back and performs the people's elbow. This time Byrne goes sick, Tom's proper buzzing mate. The people's elbow's the most electrifying move in sports entertainment. Driver prepares Tom for the rock bottom but Tom DDTs him to the mat. Tom climbs the turnbuckle and Ryan goes, OMFG. What's Tom gonna do up there? And Byrne goes, I don't know but the crowd's gonna go sick when he does. Tom uses the Swanton bomb and, just as Byrne predicted, the crowd goes proper sick. Hayes slides a table into the ring and James sets it up. Byrne runs into the ring and grabs driver. Tom stands on one side of the table while Byrne stands on the other and Irish whips driver into the ropes. He comes back, Byrne lifts him, and Tom grabs his neck. They 3D him through the table. Tom hooks the leg.
1, 2, 3.
Ryan rings the bell and Hayes all like, here's your winner, and still World Swimming Federation Cruiserweight Champion, Tom, the Power, Cummings. Augie comes running down the ramp with Grant, Allenmore, Brown, and Carl and everything kicks off. A massive brawl begins. Ryan hits Carl with a steel chair, Byrne pedigrees Allenmore, Hayes RKO's his former master Brown, James stunners Grant, and Tom 619's Augie. The good guys win. After the epic wrestling match, Byrne and Spence go on the Spinball Wizard while everyone else bills them. After a ride on the runaway mine train, Hayes, James and Ryan bill everyone else. They come across the towers and decide to go to the Hex. Hayes sees the video at the start and is all like, well, good graphics lad. James turns and walks out. Ryan follows and asks, hey, where are you going? James replies,
I'm not going in there with him. I'm going exploring the towers, in a bit.
Ryan says, KK, in a bit lad. James enters through a side door and starts to look around. He hears someone shouting, say it, then a whoop. And someone going, choo choo. James recognizes it and gets out his phone. He phones Ryan who answers with, yeah. James is all like,
shut up and listen. I'm in the castle and I can hear a guy being whipped somewhere. I think it's the announcer guy from the runaway mine train. You know? The one that sounds like he's stoned. I need you and Hayes to get over here quickly.
Ryan grabs Hayes and is all like, "We're needed, Hayes, come on." Hayes goes, "I wanted to go on the hex." Ryan replies, "Last time you cacked it and ran off and you'd probably do the same now." He takes Hayes and they meet up with James at the entrance. He leads them to where he heard the torture and opens a door. They head through and down some stairs to another door. They stealthily open the door and sneak inside. They see a group of 6 men with machine guns torturing the mine train guy and making him say his trademark catchphrase, which in approximately 3 minutes, will become a widely used internet meme. James takes out the toy katana he bought earlier and goes,
I told you this would come in handy.
They wait until no one is looking and Ryan and Hayes grab a guard who is looking away and drag him out of sight where James bludgeons him unconscious with the sword. He takes the guard's MP5 and goes,
Lock and load, bitch.
He guns down the entire group with such skill that even John Woo would be in awe. The leader is injured but alive. James goes up to him and is all like,
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker,
and shoots him in the head. He frees Choo Man while Ryan and Hayes pick up guns of their own. Choo Man goes, thanks. But there's more up in the towers. Their leader is on the roof. Ryan hands a gun to Choo Man and says, let's get some payback. The 4 storm the building, killing wave after wave of terrorists as they go. They reach the top after laying waste to 746 of them. Hayes is all like, I killed 213. Ryan responds, well I killed 215. James goes,
I got more than either of you sonair.
They sneak onto the roof and hear the leader on the radio with someone. He chats some shit and goes, we have the towers, we are ready to take the rest of the park. Yes, no, probs, on the sly, yes, it will be done Lord Mao. He turns to his soldiers and shouts, Lord Mao congratulates us on our victory. Now we can take the rest of the park and the order of the text will rise. The 4 guys jump out from behind their cover and start gunning down random people. By the time they realize what's going on, the terrorists have lost 87 people. They return fire so our heroes duck behind cover again. Hayes shoots a couple more and is shot in the arm. He's all like, medic. Ryan shouts, OMG they killed Hazel. James goes,
you bastards.
They shoot until all enemies except the leader are dead. Choo Man goes up to the guy and is all like, Choo, motherfucker, and caps the bastard. The 4 killed 856 people in total. You can't believe it. Play Call of Duty. The guys you play as pretty much win the war single-handedly. So fuck you. This concludes the epic Alton Towers hexalogy. That may not be a word but we're coining it now bitches. In 6th form we had to make podcasts for our ICT work. Ryan submitted this script for the Aelred Chronicles adaptation of his podcast. This is the story of Spence and Brad. Brad is all like, right Spence did you see Dinho then lad? Then Spence is all like, alright lad, he was proper cack, me none can play better than him hurt. Brad is all like, WT if you slag, Dinho is the king. Did you see that flip-flap you whiner? Speaskooly replies, he's a rampner. Even I can do the flip-flap better than Dinho. Brad's all like WT if you sicko, go on do it, I dares you. Then in epic slow motion Spence does the flip-flap and is all like, the Ninja Turtles had nothing on me. Brad seeing that Spence can do the flip-flap better than Dinho congratulates Spence but says, that was good. But it lost Dingo's tough voice. Spence replies, he's surrendered lol. Meanwhile on the Eggman carrier Eggman is looking on you of his many monitors and says, ha 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 you stupid fucks only I Eggman can do the flip-flap better than Dingo. Eggman now attempts the flip-flap but fails and says, oh no I've fallen and I can't get back up. It has been officially confirmed that there will be a Harry Potter spin-off set in a parallel universe where Harry kills Voldemort and is immediately told that he has to go back to Hogwarts to do his 7th year. Harry and Ron are walking around when some of the guys in their year who graduated the previous year are there for a visit. Harry goes over to Neville and Cho. He's all like, "Neville, you fat cunt, what you doing?" and starts chatting Cho up. Ron comes over and goes, "Harry, I thought you were going out with Ginny." Cho walks off. Harry turns round, punches Ron in the face and goes, "What you doing, dickhead? I well coulda had some pussy then." Suddenly, Moaning Myrtle shows up and goes, "Hello, Harry." Harry's all like, "Aw, fucking hell, leave me alone, you slag. No one likes ya. That's why you're dead." Myrtle shakes and explodes. Later, in the Gryffindor common room, Harry is getting well stuck into Ginny. Ron comes over and goes, "I'm not gonna let you to time my sister." Harry goes, "Ron, will you fuck off and let me bang your sister in peace? Fucking hell. Do you have no decency?" Ron runs off crying. He runs into Hermione's room and sees Hermione shaving her legs with magic. Ron runs out screaming and runs out onto the grand staircase. Harry turns to Ginny and asks, "Has anyone ever fallen off the grand staircase and died? This was just a sneak peek at the new Harry Potter. I think it's shaping up to be the best one." Howdy fucking partners. We is back for the second season of the Aelred Chronicles. I'm your host, Microsoft Sam. If you haven't seen season 1, then get your fat ass over to the first episode before I get my homies round there to bust a cap in your ass, bitch. Our first episode opens in the classroom of the Travel and Tourism class on Wednesday, 2 days after the Alton Towers trip. Fred appears at the window and is all like, "You guessed it, Rick boys, where's Byrne?" The table starts shaking violently and Ryan and Hayes look to see that James is causing it. He picks up a chair and throws it through the window like in Terminator Salvation, which we have seen now, bitches. It hits Fred in the head. Deadhead Fred. Lol. It hits his head and he goes flying, like, really exaggerated. He goes flying over the 3-story block and disappears. Seriously, what the fuck? Suddenly, a SWAT team breaks into the classroom and James jumps out the window and runs off with the SWAT in hot pursuit. Byrne walks in and goes, "Did I miss out?" Meanwhile, on the egg carrier, Big Eric Hazel, aka Eggman, is watching events unfold on a computer screen and is all like, "Ha ha 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 ha. Help, I've fallen, and I can't get up." Meanwhile again, the remaining 3 leaders of the Order of the Text watch both Eggman and the events he was watching unfold. These 3 are Lord Lamau, Prince PMSL, and Sergeant STFU. Prince PMSL goes,
"This James fellow, he is the key to destroying Chris Byrne and ensuring our new world order."
Sergeant STFU adds,
"Yes, he is, shall we say, not a regular human."
Lord Lamau finishes,
"Bring him to me alive."
STFU says,
"Yes, my lord."
So just what the fuck is going on? Why did Fred go flying? Why did a SWAT team attack the classroom? Why did James run? How is he not a regular human? Why do the Text need him? Why do they hate Byrne? Who shot JR? This is the story of Fred. He arrives on the courts at Mains Park where everyone else is. He goes up to Ryan, Byrne and Hayes and is all like, "Alright boys, where's Byrne?" Byrne goes, "Hiya." Fred goes, "Alright Byrne lad." Byrne responds, "I was until you showed up." JK, Fred turns to Craig and goes, "Alright Terry." Craig holds back his hatred and goes, "Yeah, you." Fred's all like, "I was just talking to me sister before. I'm telling ya, if she weren't me sister I'd do her." Craig goes, "You inbred twat." Fred goes, "STFU Terry." Fred goes home later and goes into his sister's room. He opens the drawer and takes out one of her socks. He goes back to his own room and locks the door. I bet by now you're all like, "No, please tell me he's not gonna do what I think he is." The answer is, yes, he is. After he's done, he goes back to his sister's room and puts the sock back in the drawer and goes, "I brought you a present, me bird." He goes on MSN and enters a big convo with Ian, Ryan, Byrne and Craig, or Terry as Fred calls him for some reason. The others are talking about how shit it was on the courts. Ryan goes, "Sedo can't kick a ball to save his life." Byrne goes, "Not as bad as Alamore though." Ian goes, "True dat." Fred goes, "Alright boys, I just had a jizz in me sister's sock." Everyone just stops talking. Ryan leaves the convo. Byrne goes offline. Ian leaves a disgusted face and leaves. Craig goes, inbred twat, and goes offline. Fred goes, what the fuck boys? He hears a bang and looks outside. He sees James still running from the SWAT team from the previous episode. One of the SWATs throws a grenade. James catches it and throws it through Fred's window. It explodes and obliterates Fred. James goes,
I heard what you said on the courts, both your catchphrase and about your sister.
He runs off. This is the story of Chris Byrne. He comes home with Ryan and Hayes and his parents are out. He sees a note on the table. He picks it up. He reads it to himself and is all like, the dickheads have kidnapped Rach. He steals his dad's shotgun and his mom's car and drives off. He arrives at the address given on the note. He kicks the door off its hinges and sees 3 guys in a hall with 4 doors. He blows their heads off and moves to the first door. He enters Michael Bain mode. He opens the door and shoots a television. It explodes and kills 3 people. He sees a guy take cover behind a couch while 3 more guys enter the room through a door behind the couch and take cover behind it too. He shoots the couch and it explodes. He moves to the next room in the hall. He opens a door and sees 4 guys playing poker. He kicks a football. It hits one of them in the head and explodes. He moves to the 3rd room in the hall and opens the door. He sees Grant inside and Grant goes, oh, Rick Byrne. He takes his tea out of the microwave. He's all like, chicken nuggets. Byrne goes, what? Grant replies, chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets, chicken nuggets, chicken nuggets. I despise chicken dippers. Grant prepares to eat one and Byrne shoots it out of his hand and it explodes. Grant is engulfed in flames and jumps out the window shouting, nuggets. Byrne moves to the final room, pretending he didn't see what he just did, and opens it. He sees Rach in chains. Next to her in chains is Carl. Sergeant Anti-Feud walks over and goes,
Chris Byrne, your life ends here.
He takes out his gun and Byrne enters John Woo mode. He drops the shotgun, pulls 2 pistols out of his belt and dives forward, shooting Anti-Feud multiple times. He lands and rolls behind cover. Anti-Feud takes out a grenade. Byrne dives out of cover, shooting in midair and hits the grenade. It explodes and destroys Anti-Feud. A ghost remains, similar to the Raffle Wraith and begins to fade. He all like,
the order of the text will destroy you Byrne. You cannot defeat us in our sinister voices.
Byrne asks, why didn't the Raffle Wraith have a sinister voice? Anti-Feud fades away and Byrne frees Rach. Suddenly, the window breaks and James jumps in. The SWAT team follows and one goes, we have both targets in sight. Orders? Lord LMO replies,
take them both.
The SWAT team opens fire and James, Byrne and Rach duck behind cover. James goes,
I Byrne.
Byrne goes, I James Lar. James goes,
You're the main target. Both of you get out of here. I'll cover and follow you out.
Byrne and Rach run for the door while James lays down suppressing fire. The firefight lasts for 2 minutes when a beeping starts. Everyone stops firing and looks for the source. James looks under a table and finds the source.
Shit.
Byrne and Rach hide behind the car and watch as the soldiers climb out the window. Suddenly the whole building explodes. A number of soldiers burned to death as Dan Forden from Mortal Kombat appears and says, Toasty! One of the SWAT members says, there's not a man alive that could have survived that. Byrne and Rach get in the car and drive off. Prince PMSL reports to Lord Ulmao. Ulmao goes,
what is your report?
PMSL goes,
my lord, the mission was a partial success but we suffered many casualties.
Ulmao asks,
anyone important?
PMSL says,
STFU.
Ulmao shouts,
don't speak to me like that.
PMSL goes,
no I mean STFU is dead. Byrne escaped. However, our other goal was accomplished.
Ulmao is all like,
excellent. Meow.
This is the story of the feud. You all know that people talk smack on Xbox Live. This is how that turned into a full-scale war between 2 factions. This is before James got blown up in the previous episode, even though in real life it happened during the summer and James was blown up before the summer. Yeah. Anyway, The first team, the fourth Street Pimps, features MC and Ryan. The other, the Anti-Feud Organization, has Reese 22 aka Spiky, Jack and Hayes. Both sides try to recruit James, but he's all like,
well, I might pick a side, but I might not. Depends on the weather.
Both sides battle online on Halo 3. During the war, Hayes goes on holiday. Coincidentally, yes, coincidentally, Reese goes on holiday at the same time, and returned on the same day. Did I mention coincidentally? Eventually, the war comes to a final battle on Halo 3. The lineup is Reese, Hayes, and Jack, versus MC and Ryan. However, as the battle begins, the wild card makes an appearance. He comes online, makes a dramatic entrance, and is all like,
hi.
MC Ryan and Hayes are on MC's Xbox and they have internet problems and have to go offline for a bit. This leaves James to fend for himself against Reese and Jack. Really, he finishes both off single-handedly. The same thing happens in the following game, but James loses this time. The following game is done with vehicles and pistols on Rat's Nest. Jack has to leave early and Hayes and Reese complain about it, saying that it's unfair because the other team chose the map and weapons, even though the previous game was on a map Reese had made and used weapons he chose. Reese goes, the feud's not over. Everything kicks off because of this. The following day, they try again. This time, they begin on Ryan's map, Black Hawk Down, based on Valhalla. Midway, MC changes sides and Jack betrays Reese a couple of times and gets booted. He returns and joins Ryan's side. MC, Reese and Hayes are beating Jack and Ryan when suddenly, James joins, falls from the sky when he joins the game, lands behind Hayes, and assassinates him. With the combined effort of James, Ryan and Jack, the Pimps pull back and majorly own Reese. The next game is on the same map. A few kills into the game, Reese kicks off with Ryan over the slightest thing and everyone else joins. The battle becomes so intense that everyone involved is sucked into their TV screens and enters the map in real life. Hayes' siblings, Peter and Sarah, are brought in as well to fight for the AFO, while James invites Byrne into the game. The 5-on-4 brawl begins with Hayes using the man cannon to launch himself across the map. Ryan does the same and they collide in midair. They fight like Neo and Agent Smith in the Matrix Revolutions. The fight ends with Ryan X kicking Hayes into the ground and kicking him in the head. Jack and Reese rush each other like Neo and Agent Smith a little earlier in the Matrix Revolutions. Jack dropkicks Reese into a warthog and smashes his head in with a gravity hammer. MC uses his usual tactic of attacking with a hornet. James throws an energy drain into the man cannon and it flies near the hornet and drains its power, causing it to crash. MC crawls out and James curb stomps him and goes,
yeah, video game violence at its finest.
Byrne drives a mongoose into the man cannon. He lands on Sarah and splatters her. Peter hides in the downed pelican and is all like, I wish help would come. A message comes on saying, a nostalgia critic has joined the game. The critic walks over to Peter and holds out a hand. Peter takes it. MC takes out his classic pistol and shows Peter the team list. It turns out the critic came to help the Pimps because they had less players. He blows Peter's head off and is all like,
I hope you enjoyed this list, and remember, when you wish upon a star,
Evil will find you!
The Pimps gather and another message comes up saying, Big Austrian Beefcake has joined the game. The Beefcake sings his hit single while the rest break dance in victory.
Put that cookie down, cookie down, cookie down, put that cookie down, now, down, put that cookie down, put that cookie down.
So what do you think? If you don't like it then you're going to hell. This is the story of MC. MC comes home from school and finds his house destroyed. There is some graffiti on the wall and it's all like, Eggman was here. MC collapses in front of his destroyed house and shouts, Eggman. He goes round Hayes' house and bangs on the door. Hayes' brother Peter answers the door and goes,
Hello.
MC roundhouse kicks him and goes to the living room. He sees Hayes' sister Sarah sitting on the couch watching TV. He throws a bottle at her head and cleans her out. He goes to the kitchen and finds Grant at the microwave. He opens the microwave door and is all like, "Chicken nuggets. Nug the chicken." MC jump kicks him in the head and his head smashes into the microwave. MC turns it on and goes upstairs. He enters Hayes' room and goes, "Hayes, where the fuck's your dad?" Hayes replies, "In the back garden." "Why?" MC jumps through Hayes' window and shouts, "Eggman." Big Eggman Hayes shows up in his automatic hovercraft and goes, "I destroyed your house. What you gonna do about it?" MC runs at him, jumps, and kicks him out of the automatic and he lands on the ground. He shouts, "Help! I've fallen, and I can't get up." MC is about to deliver the finishing blow when someone starts singing. I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me. Reese runs and Reese KOs him. MC gets up and goes, "Reese, fuck off." Reese goes, "No tar, you're going down for a leave in the AFO after we lost the feud." MC spears Reese and power bombs him. He sees Eggman on the run and chases him. Reese takes out a syringe and injects himself with mutagenic steroids. He becomes as big as the Hulk and grows to extra arms. He jumps over the house and lands in the front garden just as MC and Eggman run through the front door. Reese throws the Hazel family car and MC ducks as it flies into the house and cleans out Peter, Sarah, and Hayes all in one go. MC rushes Reese but Reese nuts him and he drops like a sack of shit. Eggman goes, "Good job, Reese." Reese begins to experience roid rage and shouts,
Last streak standing!
MC kicks Reese in the balls and breaks his foot. Reese gets MC with the FU and an elbow drop. Reese then lays the smack F down on his candy ass by delivering a pedigree. As he prepares to finish MC, Hayes comes in and spears Reese. Eggman goes, "What are you doing?" Hayes replies, "Taking you down, Dad." He throws a brick and cleans out Eggman. Suddenly, a missile hits the house and blows up Peter and Sarah. Reese, Hayes, MC and Eggman see some dude with a rocket launcher. The guy takes out a pistol and shoots MC, killing him instantly. Hayes jumps behind a wall, which seconds later is blown to pieces by a rocket. Hayes is then shot multiple times and dies. He'll be back. Eggman makes his escape in his automatic, which is shot down and crashes somewhere too far for the guy to be bothered going after him. Reese rushes the guy and is shot multiple times with dual Uzis and spin kicked in the head. Reese pulls the guy's arm off to reveal circuitry underneath his skin. Reese is then beaten to death with the arm he ripped off. The robot takes his arm and walks off.
Hi guys, this is James. I know I got blown up but who gives a fuck? I'll be narrating this episode. Why? Because this is the story of Microsoft Sam. That's right, MS gets his very own episode. Let's begin. In the classroom, the day after I got blown up and Burn saved Rach, Fred walks in and he's all like, "Alright boys. Where's Burn? What a douche." Microsoft Sam walks in and punches Fred in the face and goes,
"That's what you get for saying the same crap every freaking time you appear."
He sits down in my seat and goes,
"Alright Hayes. You look good for a guy that got shot multiple times and died."
Eggman pops up at the window and goes, "That is 'cause I is the one what brung him back to life bitches with a Z." Hayes turns and goes, "Screw you Eggman, you're not my real dad." Eggman goes, "That's what you think. Ha 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 ha. Help. I've fallen. And I can't get up." His minion the protege appears and helps him up. Eggman goes, "Thank you Jonathan." The robot appears with its arm fixed and shoots the protege. The protege shouts, "Go, get to da choppa." Eggman flees in the eggcopter and is immediately shot down by the robot. The robot runs after him. Ryan goes, "Random." Sam goes,
"This is the kind of fucked up shit I tried to get away from."
Burn asks, "Who are you really?" Sam replies,
"I'm secretly God on the sly."
Ryan asks, "James is friends with God?" Sam responds,
"If he's friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger, God isn't that much of a stretch."
Grant pops in and goes, "Burn you slag, nug the chicken." Sam brings Grant's chicken nuggets back to life and the chickens maul him. Sam goes,
I can see the future BTW. Grant's gonna get a job at KFC, hold the restaurant hostage, and force them to add all sorts of new chicken products to the menu. And we'll immediately be gunned down by the fuzz.
Ryan says, tell my future. Go on. I'll give you a quid. Sam says,
KK. You beat the living crap out of Fred when he makes questionable comments about his sister and burn, and you lay the smack down on Grant when he makes questionable comments about chicken products. Hayes opens a barber shop and ironically, never cuts his own fringe, and it grows and mutates and takes over his mind. He is eventually taken down by Batman.
Fred gets up and goes, Batman's not real, boys. Sam says,
I'm God, I can do anything. Although stopping you from saying boys may be beyond even my power. Unless I shove a lightning bolt up your arse.
Due to the disturbing, violent, and all-around weird nature of this scene, I won't go into detail. Sam turns to the guys and says,
it's time for me to go. But remember, the Force will be with you, always.
He fades away and appears next to me and I'm all like, sup? And he goes,
I is back, bitches. But I can't believe that they really believed I was God.
I know. I bet the audience did too. Ha 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 ha.
So I is back as the narrator. This is the story of Sam, not me, and the Polish cleaners. The basic premise was devised by Ryan since James didn't have any clue what to write about.
What's your point? If I have no inspiration I can't write anything. Look back and you'll see that nearly every episode is spawned from at least some truth. And I want to do a voice. I don't get enough lines anymore.
Whatever, you can voice that agent dude.
Yay!
Anyway, our story begins with Sam and his Polish crew in the toilets at school. Sam is all like, our Lord has given us orders to take the school. The Alton Towers attack failed but half of its defenders aren't here, which gives us a better chance. We begin tonight at 7, I don't want to miss Corey. Meanwhile, Ryan is laying the smackdown on MC on Halo 3. A message comes up saying, 141.80 wants you to join a party. Ryan switches party to see who it is. The guy says,
Ryan, the fate of the world is at stake and you're the only one who can help.
Ryan asks, why me? The guy replies,
because Burns with Rach, James got blown up, Hayes got shot but we wouldn't go to him anyway, and everyone else just kinda sucks.
Ryan goes, "Okay, what do I have to do?" The guy responds,
Sam and his Polish crew have been assimilated into the order of the text and have been ordered to take the school.
Ryan's all like, the Polish crew is bigger than the entire North Korean military, how could they possibly be assimilated? The guy says,
Sam tried to end the order because they don't believe in God. He challenged Lord Amano and lost. He was lucky to survive.
Ryan asks, what was the challenge? The guy replies,
the ultimate test of strength, skill, and strategy, the trial known only as Yu-Gi-Oh!
Ryan goes, that poor bastard. The guy continues,
anyways, you need to infiltrate the Polish crew and take the organization down from the inside. Like that time you switched team to betray Hayes and his family on Halo 3.
Ryan goes, yeah, that was priceless. But how do I infiltrate the group? He knows me. The guy says,
they dress in stock crony costumes like Carl's goons.
Ryan goes, KK. Later, he goes to the school, smacks a guy on the head with a brick and goes, have it. He takes the dude's clothes and goes to the toilets. Sam is there and begins a long pointless speech about how they will succeed in the plan to take the school. Half an hour later, he's still talking and most of his goons have fallen asleep. Ryan gives up and jump kicks Sam in the head. Sam falls and he's all like, please don't hurt me. Spare my life. Ryan goes, I'm here to take you down. Terrorists don't get to live. Sam goes, so you plan to sneak in here and destroy my crew? Ryan replies, I don't have to, you've already done that for me. Sam sees his sleeping crew and shouts, you cannot defy the heavens. All unbelievers will fail at the might of God. The toilet stalls open and goons start flipping out of them. All four land on their heads and snap their own necks. Ryan takes out a gun and puts a bullet in Sam's head. He says, "Why would God side with the machines?" As he leaves the school, the toilets explode for no apparent reason. The robot walks out of the toilets and watches Ryan leave. His arm panel beeps and he activates it. Lord Wao's hologram appears and says,
"Return to base. I have a new mission for you. It's called Operation Kill Burn."
The robot turns his head in confusion. Wao tries again.
Operation Termination.
The robot turns its head the other way. Wao goes,
"Fuck it then. We'll work it out later."
We have the nostalgia critic here to give us his opinion on this episode. So critic, what do you think?
This is the story of the cinema. Once again, this one is before James got blown up, even though most of the events actually occurred in the summer. Ryan's mom gives Ryan and James a lift to the cinema. There is a traffic jam coming up, so Ryan's mom is all like,
I don't want to have to find somewhere to let you out and then come back to this traffic. I'll just let you out now.
This is totally not an exaggeration. Ryan and James bail out of the still-moving car. They walk to the cinema in the rain and see Leto dancing in the rain. They decide to ignore this and just go inside. While they wait in line so Ryan can get a hot dog, Ryan points at the girls' toilets and goes, "Look, the condom machine's out." James asks,
A condom machine in the girls' toilets? They expect girls to get the package.
Just then, a man and a woman who both work at the cinema come out of a back room together. Ryan turns to James and asks, "Did you think what I just did when those two came out?" James replies,
Yeah, guess we know why the condom machine's out.
They go and watch Aliens in the Attic, which is a really funny movie BTW, and when they leave, they see Leto still dancing in the rain. James gets an idea from the movie. He gets a paintball gun and shoots Leto in the balls. Leto falls, clutching his balls in pain. He throws a Pokeball. He says, "Pikachu, I choose you." Pikachu says, "No, fuck you." Pikachu savagely attacks him. Ryan and James watch as Leto squirms around for no reason. Ryan asks, "What do you think he's doing?" James responds,
He probably sees Pokemon that aren't there.
Ryan gets home and goes on Halo 3. He goes up against Hayes in an epic one-on-one brawl. He obviously owns Hayes. Next is a team slayer. Ryan, MC and Jack versus Hayes, Peter, Sarah and Reese. A message comes up saying, "That guy has joined the game." That guy fellow kills Peter a number of times during the game while Ryan focuses on Hayes, MC focuses on Sarah, and Jack focuses on Reese. At the end of the game Peter shouts, "Ha! You only killed me on Halo 3. What do you say to that?" That guy says,
Please email me your address so that I may come over and kill you properly. I expect your response very soon. And if for some reason you do not give me your address,
I will find you.
Peter goes offline. That guy uses a special high-tech machine to track down Peter. He walks all the way from America to England and goes to Hayes' house. Peter comes home from school, goes to his room, and finds that guy there. That guy is all like,
oh, salam. Didn't hear you come in. Greetings and welcome to...
and Peter dies. This is the story of the second feud. The second feud has started up between the 4th Street Pimps, consisting of Ryan, MC, and Jack, and the Anti-Feud Organization, aka the Powerpuff Pals, consisting of Reese, Hayes, Peter, and Sarah. No James, no that guy with the glasses, no nostalgia critic, no big Austrian beefcake. Just these 7. Halo 3 again, boys. After a number of matches, they decide to take the feud into real life for the final showdown. The battle takes place on the roof of a 3-story block. The two sides stand at opposite ends of the roof, eyeing each other up. They all run at each other. Ryan faces Reese, MC tackles Hayes' siblings, and Jack spears Hayes himself. The brawl goes on for a few minutes. Sarah rushes Ryan, who dodges, and she goes over the edge. She's all like, splat, on the ground. MC throws Peter into Hayes and both fall over the edge. They both hold on to the edge and Hayes pulls himself up. Peter holds out his hand for Hayes. Hayes goes, "Saws bro, it's just business." He kicks Peter off the edge and reveals his identity as a double agent for the Pimps. He gets Reese with the rock bottom and follows with the People's Elbow. He adopts the nickname, the People's Hayes. Suddenly, the door to the roof opens and a gang of bad guys shows up. They are Fred, Grant, Augie, Gillan, Carl, Carl's goons, and Prince PMSL. Fred goes, "Alright boys, where's Byrne? We have to kill him boys." Grant says, "Chicken nuggets, chicken nuggets." Reese runs to his allies and they all face the four heroes. Just when it seems like the heroes are screwed, a chopper arrives and Byrne rappels down with Ian, Craig, and Spence. Byrne turns to PMSL and goes, "Hi pal, you buzzin'?" PMSL goes,
"We're prepared this time, Byrne. We're using everything we have to take you down this time."
He snaps his fingers and the newly resurrected Dragon Lady appears. Then the Text's robot assassin drops from the sky. He lands and faces the heroes. PMSL goes,
"Kill Byrne. The rest of you, hold off the others for him."
As the villains rush the heroes, the robot sticks out an arm and clotheslines one of Carl's cronies. PMSL goes,
"What are you doing?"
The robot turns and does the bring it sign. PMSL shoots him in the head. His helmet flies off to reveal his face. James turns to Byrne and is all like,
"Hey Byrne, I've been programmed to take you down, but I just don't want to."
Byrne says, "I thought you died." James responds,
"No one's ever actually said that I did. You need to pay more attention to what people say."
PMSL inquires.
"Why didn't the mind control work?"
James replies,
"'Cause I'm just too cool."
The villains open fire on James. He just stands there and takes it. They stop firing. He looks at the wounds and goes,
"Soft."
He guns down all of Carl's cronies and rushes Carl himself. All the other heroes, except Byrne, run forward and all the villains, except PMSL, run forward. They all clash in epic fashion. The brawl rages on for a few more minutes. Reese gets Hayes with the Reese KO. Craig whips out a sock with an iron ball inside and smashes Fred in the head for ironic effect. Ryan throws a box of chicken nuggets off the roof and Grant dives down after them. Gillan slams MC against a wall and MC knees him in the balls. James punches Carl's face off, literally, and Ian jump kicks Augie in the head and cleans him out. Reese rushes Ryan but is speared by Spence. The dragon throws James off but he launches a spear from his hand and drags her down too. Byrne goes at it with PMSL in an epic one-on-one brawl. Byrne throws PMSL into Reese and both fall off the edge. The heroes look down and see James fighting the Dragon Lady, PMSL, and Reese, who somehow survived the fall, on his own. They all run down the stairs and arrive to help. Byrne and Ian viciously beat PMSL down while Craig and Spence help James against the dragon. Ryan MCAs and Jack team up on Reese, and convince him to change his ways. He and Jack leave to watch the Aelred Chronicles. Wait what? Spence distracts the dragon while James runs up the wall, flips, and lands on the dragon's back. Craig throws a knife up and James stabs the dragon in the back of the head. It falls to the ground. James stands up and is all like,
"Oh, the dragon's balls were blazing as I stepped into his cave, then I sliced his fucking cockles with a long and shiny blade."
Byrne and Ian beat PMSL to a pulp and Byrne goes, "Where's your boss pal?" PMSL replies,
"Do you really expect me to talk?"
James goes,
"I expect that your new world order necessitates you having testicles."
PMSL quickly responds,
Okay, I'll tell you, he's at Sully's."
James goes,
"The secret hideout of the villains was Sully's all this time. I reckon we should just go and kick some ass."
Hayes asks, "Why didn't you know where their base was when you worked for them?" James replies,
"Yeah, about that."
He gives Hayes the finger and runs off. Hayes goes, "I thought he was gonna get me with the sweet chin music." James returns and goes,
"Oh yeah, I just remembered."
He gets PMSL with the sweet chin music and runs off. Hayes goes, "I thought for sure he would then." The remaining heroes follow James to Sully's for the final battle. Grant sits up and is all like, "Who am I? Where am I? What's this in my hand?" A box of chicken nuggets? No. I despise chicken nuggets. Get him away. Meanwhile, Eggman contacts his old friend, the protege. He goes, Jonathan, I need your help. I'm trying to find out who my son's real father is. Jonathan goes, you didn't know? It is one of your former allies. Eggman shouts, no. 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 The full identity will be revealed soon.
Who wants this go?
This is the story of Hayes out swimming. Hayes comes in Speedos. Lol. The end. But seriously, this is the story of Eggman. Eggman searches for Hayes' real father. He begins by going to swimming at Sully's. The secret hideout is underground while the school and sporting activities take place at ground level. Eggman sits in the locker room and watches as the heroes approach with his laptop. He sends his minion Winders to stop them. Winders approaches the heroes from behind on a bicycle, a pink one with stabilizers and a basket on the front. He's all like, prepare to die heroes. The heroes run and climb the gates. Once they're over, Winders goes, no, while slowly moving toward the gate, very slowly. No. His bike lightly taps the gate and stops. He goes, phew, and the bike suddenly explodes. Eggman turns the laptop off and listens to the heroes outside. James goes,
we should split up and look for the secret hideout. We'll act like we're here to use the facilities. Bern and Spence go check the gym, Hayes check the pool, Ryan and MC check the sports hall, I'll check the AstroTurf, and Ian and Craig check the sauna.
They split up and Eggman hides in a locker as Hayes enters. Despite the locker being comically bulgy and ready to burst open, Hayes doesn't notice as he changes into his Speedos and goes for a swim. Eggman follows him and looks around in the hopes of finding Hayes' true father. After an hour, Eggman sees his family arrive and watches his wife to see if the guy's there. She goes to the other side of the pool and talks to her friends while Sarah and Peter go for a swim. Eggman uses a special listening device to eavesdrop. Hayes' mom's all like,
Hayes has been asking about his real father. What do you think I should do?
Her friend asks.
You call your son Hayes?
Her other friend says.
I think you should just tell him the truth.
Later, as the Hazel family prepares to leave, Hayes' mom takes him to one side to talk to him. Eggman prepares to send his robot army after the guy. Hayes' mom goes,
Hayes, I know you've been wondering about your real father, so I've decided it's better if I tell you the truth. Your real father is your friend James from the future.
Dun dun dun. Eggman faints at the news. Hayes' mom continues.
He had a child but was too young to look after it, so he sent him back in time to us and asked us to raise it.
Hayes goes, really? I had no idea I was wait. You are my biological mother, so how could he have sent me back in time to you? His mom goes,
that was just a joke.
Eggman wakes up instantaneously and listens intently for the truth. Hayes' mom goes,
your real father is the man who drove me to the hospital to give birth to you. I think his name was Taxi Driver.
Eggman pulls up a file on the Driver family. Pyle, the former WWF superstar who had an argument with Vince McMahon over changing the name to WWE, his wife who used to run a slave trading operation, and their children, truck, taxi, bus, van, coach, boat, and limo. Eggman sets out to destroy the Driver family. He decides to go to KFC on Alton Towers to begin with truck. This is the story of Ian and Craig. Ian and Craig enter the sauna. It is very hot. Yes, very hot. They look around. Well, as far as you can in a sauna. They find the hot coals and find Grant sitting there, cooking something on the coals. He's all like, hello good fellows. Would you like some chicken drummers? They're very good when barbecued. Ian goes up to him, slams his head into the coals, and walks out. He and Craig walk out, pretending the sauna was completely empty, and head over to the gym to meet up with Bern and Spence. This is the story of Bern and Spence. Bern and Spence look around the gym. They check the equipment room and find Grant sitting there, eating something. He's all like, hey man, how the fuck's it going honkies? I's eating me teas. Want some chicken fillet boas? Bern and Spence just turn around and walk away. Then the ceiling caves in and crushes him. They walk towards the exit and Craig and Ian walk in. This is the story of Byrne, Craig, Ian, and Spence. They leave the gym together and go back to the front desk. They see Grant's mum. "Fa, you thought I was gonna say Grant, Raffle wow." His mum goes,
Hello boys. Have you seen Grant? He's been missing since you all went to Alton Towers, so I was wondering if you knew where he was.
Byrne goes, "He went to Alton Towers by himself, got cleaned out with a chair, got amnesia, hated chicken dippers and loved chicken nuggets, got set on fire, jumped off a building, got amnesia again, hated chicken nuggets and loved chicken drummers, got his head smashed into hot coals, got amnesia again, hated chicken drummers and loved chicken fillet, and got crushed by a ceiling." Grant's mum goes,
Oh, that's nice.
Grant walks out of the gym and goes, "Hi mum, can you go to the shop and buy me some chicken booties?" Spence goes, "Chicken booties? You mean chicken breast? And if you lost your memory, how do you still recognize your mum? You never really had amnesia in the first place, did you?" Grant goes, "Yeah, course I did." Byrne goes, "Fa, if you really did get amnesia, you wouldn't remember getting it the first time 'cause you got it a bunch of times since then." Grant goes, Shit. Since there are no windows to jump through, he tries to make a break for it but Ian cuts him off. He tries to go back to the gym but Byrne cuts him off. He tries to go to the sauna but Spence cuts him off. He tries for the entrance again but his mum and Craig back up Ian. He runs for the pool but Hayes comes out in speedos and Grant screams like a sissy girl and Hayes' mum, brother and sister walk out too. Hayes, Ian, Byrne, Sarah, Peter, Hayes' mum, Spence, Grant's mum, and Craig all gang up and twat Grant. Rafflophagus. This is the next part of the epic saga of Eggman's search for Hayes' real father. Eggman goes to Alton Towers and blows up KFC in a bid to kill truck driver. Truck shows up on the scene and sees Eggman. He puts up his finger at Eggman and is all like, "I put me finger up at a fat person. Fucking well hard me hurt." Eggman shouts, "You slept with my wife. Now you die." Eggman throws a hammer and cleans him out. Truck goes, "I don't know what the big deal is." Eggman responds, "The big deal is that my son isn't my son." Truck goes, "Well, he ain't mine either. Try my brother Coach. It could be him." After destroying the site with a laser, Eggman flies to the driver house with an army of robots and he very politely knocks on the door. Then opens the door and Eggman snaps his neck instantaneously. Bolt runs in and Eggman gets him with a spinning back kick. Oh yeah, Eggman's a master of all known martial arts, and 3 unknown ones. Who knew? Limo jumps down the stairs and tries to punch Eggman while in midair. Eggman flips to the side and counters with a punch to the head. Limo collapses and Coach and Bus run in. Bolt gets up and the 3 attack together. Eggman shoots Bus and drop kicks Coach through the door. Limo jump kicks off a wall. Eggman RKO's him, and moves to the next room. Once inside he encounters 2 mini-bosses, Pyle and Slave Driver. Pyle goes at Eggman with a spear but Eggman is too heavy to move. Eggman chokeslams him and Slave Driver throws a sigh at him but his fat just absorbs it and launches it back. It takes her out as her husband stands up. He's all like, "You killed my wife. Your ass is mine." He punches Eggman in the gut but his hand just deflects back and hits him in the face. Eggman goes, "Stop hitting yourself." The Nostalgia Critic makes his final appearance of this season and goes,
Yeah! I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Eggman responds, "Stop hitting yourself." The critic goes,
Just show us that you're trying!
Eggman goes, "Screw you, critic. You're not my real dad." The critic responds,
You can't just say random phrases and expect them to magically be funny. You gotta think about them first.
Eggman goes, "Whatever. Just 'cause you're American," and walks out. The critic walks off to plot his vengeance. Eggman finds Taxi in the back garden and Belly bounces him to the floor. He shouts, "Belly's gonna get ya." Taxi goes, "Dude, the key to comedy is to be funny. The only funny thing about you is the way you look." Eggman kicks him in the head and says, "My name is to bitch." Taxi asks, "Your name is to bitch?" Eggman lifts him up and slaps him across the face. He goes, "You slept with my wife." Taxi goes, "You mean Mrs. Hazel? It wasn't me who got her pregnant. She was already pregnant when she first met me." And Eggman goes, "So Sarah is yours then?" Taxi says, "Probs on Sly." Eggman drops him, takes off in his Eggmatic, and blows up the house with a missile. Eggman suddenly realizes, he found out who Sarah's real father is. He knows Peter is his son, but he forgot to find out who Hayes' real father is, which was the whole point of this little adventure. Eggman shouts, "Who is the father of my son?" Gillan appears and says, "It's me." No one can resist the Strauss pleasure. Eggman jumps down and is about to punch him when he says, "JK mate." Eggman gets so pissed off he explodes. Anyone like their eggs scrambled?
That was terrible. That's probably worse than stop hitting yourself.
Shut up. Anyways, who is Hayes' real father really?
That will be revealed next time, cause all the king's horses and all the king's men rebuild Eggman. They have the technology. They call him Robo-Egg.
Are you on drugs?
Maybe.
This is the story of James. Don't worry, there's a reason for this. James goes onto the AstroTurf. He sees Big Tom, the Power, Cummings, playing football. Not the sport the Americans call football, which makes no sense because they carry the ball as opposed to kicking it. I mean the real football. See? I told you there was a reason. He goes to Tom and he's all like,
"Hi Tom."
Tom goes, "Hi James." Suddenly, a huge scream comes out of the ground and Forshaw appears on the screen and goes, "Ha ha 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 ha. You skies is going down cause you's missing with me crew." James goes,
"What?"
Byrne, Spence, Craig, Ian, Ryan, MC and Hayes show up and Ryan goes, "Not in the sports hall boys." MC adds, "Except Fred and his usual antics." James asks,
"Did you take him out?"
Ryan replies, "MC stunned him." James responds,
"Good stuff."
Forshaw bellows, "What you doing? Don't ignore me. You'll feel my wrath. Witness the power of..."
"Shut up for fuck's sake."
Forshaw continues his rant, "You dare raise your voice to the supreme master of internet hackers?" James ponders this and asks,
"Hayes."
Forshaw shouts, "No you fool. You will feel my wrath when I send you into the incompletable challenge of Nazi zombies." He presses a button and our heroes are sent into Call of Duty World at War's Nazi Zombies mode. James goes,
"Gear up lads."
The guys pick up some rifles and stand at the barricades as the zombies approach. However, as the zombies get closer, they see that they are something far more horrifying than Nazi zombies. They are all Nazi Freds. The Nazi Freds say, "All right boys, where's Byrne?" In unison. James goes,
"Oh fudge sickles."
The Freds attack en masse. The heroes open fire on the Freds and kill hundreds of thousands over the course of 12 rounds. On round 13, MC and Spence are cornered and overwhelmed by the Fredness of the situation and are defeated. Fortunately, they don't reanimate as Freds. The others back into the help room to get some new weapons. The zombies begin to attack from more directions, but Ryan picks up the pulse gun and Hayes takes up his ultimate signature weapon which he had in his pocket in the real world, an apple. Craig gets a BR and Ian gets the trench gun while the others stick to their rifles. They fight until round 26 where zombie Japs arrive. They take the form of Augie. James goes,
"Hacking cunt. I'll rip his face off and choke him with it when we get out."
Ryan runs out of ammo and the zombies begin to swarm him, but Hayes lures them away and pulls the stock from his apple. As the zombies swarm him, the apple explodes and Hayes is killed. It was an apple grenade, a weapon of Hayes' own design. Ryan picks up a BR and guns down a large number of zombies for his fallen friend. They retreat to the upstairs and face zombies from all directions. They reach round 34 and Hellhounds attack. James hacks the game himself with his robot brain and obtains the holy pistol and fires shed loads of rifle grenades at the evil doggies. He gives Tom the Bowie knife, Ryan the monkey bomb, and Byrne the nicknamed Wonder Waffle. They last until round 46 where they begin to get swamped by the sheer number of zombies. Ian's trench gun runs out and he is killed. Ryan is swarmed from behind and taken down in round 47. The others survive until round 50. They hear a tank approach and all the zombies and hellhounds run toward it. The heroes head outside and watch as the final boss of Forshaw's Nazi zombies gets out of the tank and stands on top. A Forshaw controls zombie Hitler. He's so like, Heil Forshaw. James runs up to the tank, jumps up, and punches Hitler in the face like in Dead Rising. He goes,
bigot.
He has a hand-to-hand fight on top of the tank, again like in Dead Rising. They fight for 2 minutes and 43 seconds. James uppercuts Hitler off the tank and the August Freds and Hellhounds swarm him, once again like in Dead Rising. The game ends and the heroes are returned to the real world. They find the others there too. They all survived because of the victory in an unwinnable game. In your face straight arc. Forshaw's screen is shattered. The heroes continue their search. This is the concluding part of the epic known as Eggtrek, the search for Hayes, his real father. Eggman, now known as Robo-Egg, heads to the school to continue his search for Hayes' real father. He spies on the ICT lesson Hayes James Ryan Byrne and Spence should be in as he believes Mr. Lewis is Hayes' father for some reason. Robo-Egg phones Lewis. He leaves the room for a second to answer it. He answers and is all like, fuck off. He hangs up and goes back to teaching. Immediately following this, Robo-Egg starts fuming. He lands and sets out for vengeance upon the one what wronged him. Augie enters the ICT room and goes, "Oh read sir. Saws I'm late. I was busy having a fag." Robo-Egg appears behind him and goes, "Move Augie you deadbeat," and shoots him in the head. He begins shooting up the place but Big Lewis is too smart for such a simple tactic and jumps through the window, flips through the air, and lands on his feet 2 stories below and runs for the 6th form block. Robo-Egg jumps out the window, firing on the way down. He plants his feet on the wall about halfway down and kicks off, propelling himself forward at incredible speeds. Lewis makes it through the door as Brown walks out and into Robo-Egg's path. Robo-Egg ends up spearing him through the window to the social area and Brown goes flying into a bunch of randomers and cleans them out. Robo-Egg lands on his feet and skids to a stop. He runs through the door and down the corridor to the fire door. He checks the study area but Lewis isn't there. Robo-Egg shouts, "Lewis you loser, come out." Lewis has made it to the travel and tourism room where Mrs. Mather is teaching a class. Lewis takes his signature laser pistol out of his pocket. He blind fires at Robo-Egg who dodges to the side and plans his next move. Jones walks into the classroom and says, "Mr. Lewis, Dr. Eggman wanted me to give you this." He holds out a grenade with the pin pulled. Lewis backflips through the window and runs to the 3-story block as the grenade explodes and obliterates Jones and all the randomers in the class but leaves Mrs. Mather irrevocably unharmed. Robo-Egg is in hot pursuit. Lewis reaches the top of the block and is cornered by the vengeful Robo-Egg and it begins to rain as epic music begins to play in the background. Robo-Egg shouts, "This is the end you know Mark." Lewis goes, "I know. Now." Mr. Brankin, the RE teach, appears in a chopper piloted by Mrs. Mather and takes out his signature cross-shaped rocket launcher. He's all like, "You're going down Eggman you joker." In his signature Irish accent, he fires and knocks Robo-Egg off the roof and throws down a rope ladder and Lewis climbs up. He says, "This damn war's been going on for too long. Do we have a lead on their headquarters?" Rankin replies, "Chris Byrne contacted us about 10 minutes ago and told us it's at Sully's. We're en route now. Their main target seems to be Byrne but they went after James as well." Lewis asks, "Why?" Rankin begins to explain as they head for Sully's. Robo-Egg gets up after hearing the teachers with his super robo-hearing. Now he knows where the headquarters of the text is. This may hold clues to the truth for some reason. He sets out for vengeance, and he knows just where to get it. Next time, these 2 stories merge into one big dock-off story with revelations that will be so shocking they will warp the very fabric of time and space, or at least give you a good laugh. Peace in instead of peace out. James and crew enter Lord Lamao's chamber, which was in the head teacher's office all along. He faces them from his platform and is all like,
James, what is this 141.80 account on the 360?
James replies.
I needed an alias to talk to Ryan.
Hayes asks, why no? James replies.
Yeah, about that.
He gets Hayes with the sweet chin slap on the back of the head and says,
Don't ask questions, boy, or I'll stab you.
Ulmato says,
So you've betrayed us.
James points out, how diverse are our ways of saying says. He points out,
I was never on your side.
Ulmato shouts.
Enough, kill them all.
An army of goons enters and attack, and the heroes whip out their weapons, including James's new ultimate super mega ultra weapon. He whips out a pancake and bludgeons a guy to death with it. The chopper appears above the glass roof and fires down on the random generic minions, and the heroes duck for cover as the rain of awesome destroys all the enemies. Rankin Lewis and Mather rappel down and finish off the stragglers with assault rifles. The heroes all gather and Ryan asks, who's flying the chopper? They all look up as the chopper only now begins to fall. Grant walks in and shouts, Chicken dip laws are back, boys, and is immediately crushed by the chopper, which then explodes in disgust. Rankin goes, alright James lad. James goes,
Yeah, what you guys doing here?
Lewis replies, we're here to help you end this. By the way, we know that the text went after you because you're not a regular human, but what does that mean? James replies,
You mean you weren't talking about that at the end of the last episode? That reminds me though, you guys just kinda accepted that I'm a robot. Why didn't any of you even question it?
Burns says, life's gone fucked up. This is an example. James responds,
True, basically, I'm not human anymore. You've seen the Terminator Salvation trailers, right?
Ian goes, I don't get it. Lord Ulmao interjects, well diverse now in it. He interjects,
Then allow me to explain. He was taken by Sergeant STFU in 1993 and used in his experiments to create a loyal cyborg. However, he was immune to the mind control.
Cause I'm just too cool.
Shut up. And he was saved by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who took him back home so he could continue his life as a human. His aging continued because of his partial humanity, and his growth is due to the nanomachines that make up his skeleton. We eventually found him after he disrupted our attempts to take Alton Towers.
James interrupts,
Why did you do that again? Bet it's cause you like the rides.
Ulmao shouts,
No, that was just an added bonus. It was because we would be able to plant mind control chips into all who entered. We reacquired you and attempted to brainwash you into being our ultimate enforcer. This failed. Now I will kill you and burn to ensure my absolute rule.
James goes,
Then prepare to feel my fist of epic justice. The prison cells are down the hall and to your right. MC, Ryan, Hayes, go with them. Bust out anyone who can help.
The three teachers and Ryan, MC and Hayes leave. James runs up the wall to reach Ulmao's platform. They eye each other up while PMSL returns and attacks Burn. The other heroes deal with the PMSL posse, PMSL's evil minions. The brawl goes on for a bit while the other group goes to save the prisoners in the cell block. They find Big Eric in a cell guarded by randomers and quickly mow them all foes down. They save Eric and some other prisoners and try to escape but encounter Robo-Egg. He's all like, Hayes. Hand Hayes over now or die. Ryan says, he's in the main chamber. Robo-Egg responds, oh, well thank you. Have a nice day. He turns to leave, then turns back and goes, no he isn't. He's right there. You lie. You die. You die. Eric does a running mega jump kick and cracks that Eggman wide open. Yeah, let's party. Sorry. I couldn't resist a Sonic Heroes joke. Anyhow, Eric turns to Hayes and is all like, Hayes, it's time you knew the truth. I am your father. Hayes goes, no, that's not true. That's impossible. Eric responds, well statistically it is possible. The reason you all thought Eggman was your father is that he and I were once friends, but that's a tale for another day. For now we have to get out of here. The heroes head to the exit with Eric and the other prisoners. Meanwhile, Ulmao's going sick. He goes,
I find it odd that you didn't seem to care that you're a robot.
James responds,
Cause being a robot makes me even cooler than before. But I do remember how I first found out.
He has a flashback. He is being interrogated by Christian Bale. Bale inquires,
Where were the other drugs going?
James responds.
Do I look like a fucking druggie?
Bale responds.
I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. You know, shut up for a second, alright?
Bale's guys try to calm him down while James responds.
What the fuck? Calm the fuck down, you fucking asshole.
Bale says.
Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur.
After going on like this for 5 minutes, Bale randomly says,
You think you're human?
I am human.
Bale pushes a button and the light above James comes on. He looks at his machine parts and is all like,
Sweet.
back in the present, the others clean out some more cronies, while Burn and PMSL fight until they're on the platform too. James shouts,
You guys go. We got this.
the others go and make it outside where they find the teachers, the prisoners, and Ryan Hayes and MC. An alarm goes off inside. James asks,
Fuck is that?
PMSL says,
The future is ours, and it begins now.
and teleports away. Heroes outside see a nuke fly up into the air and off into the distance. They retreat inside where blast shields close around the building. Olmao says,
Shall we have our final battle now?
James says,
And be asked.
and caps the bastard and prepares for Judgment Day. A bright light appears and out of the smoke comes none other than Arnold.
I'm back.
Alternate ending, Series 2. An alarm goes off inside. James asks,
The fuck is that?
PMSL says,
The future is ours, and it begins now.
James throws a knife into PMSL's face and his chest bursts open and he falls off the platform, setting off a beacon. The heroes outside see a disc-shaped object fly into the air and closer to them. Hayes shouts, Run, it's a UFO. Ryan points out, technically by calling it a UFO you just identified it so it's no longer unidentified which makes it an UFO. They try to retreat inside but blast shields close around the building and trap them outside. Olmao says,
You have unleashed the wrath of our true masters. You will not survive this. You should surrender.
Burn replies, No tar, and delivers an FU to the bitch. Suddenly, a big-ass laser comes down through the ceiling and James and Burn see the disc above. It activates an abducto beam and abducts them. The disc flies off into space. A bright light appears and out of the smoke comes none other than Arnold.
I didn't make it.
With our heroes gone, there is no one to stop Fred from becoming the supreme ruler of the world, which is now renamed Fredland. Random. This is the story of James' perception of how Hayes' 18th B-Day celebration will play out. Instead of having a stupid party where everyone gets smashed off their tits and can't remember jack shit about it, Hayes decides to go to paintballing with his homies. He goes with James, Ryan, MC, Nathan, Cyril, the mom called Jones, Reese, Jack, Peter, and Sarah. They play a team game against a bunch of random villains from the series past and chronological future who want nothing more than to destroy Hayes' birthday because, like all one-dimensional villains with no real thought put into them, they obviously had nothing better to do. The environment is designed to be like a small jungle. The primary weapons are standard paintball guns. Hayes briefs the team before they enter the field and is all like, You start with paintball guns but there's a shop in the field where you can buy smoke grenades and stuff. James goes,
An in-game merchant.
Hayes replies, Yeah. The goal is to get to the evac chopper on the other side of the map while they try to stop us. We'll split into teams so they can't take us all down with one ambush. MC asks, Aren't you taking this a bit too seriously, Hayes? Hayes shouts, No. You can never be too serious. Paintball is more realistic than war. Wait, that didn't come out right. James face palms and Hayes continues, Anyways, we split up like this. James, Ryan, MC and I are Alpha, Peter, Sarah, Jack and Reese are Bravo, Jones, Nathan and Cyril are Charlie. Any questions? James asks.
If I defeat someone, can I perform an ancient ritual and sacrifice their immortal souls to the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne?
Hayes says, No, we'd get kicked out. See, it says right here, rule number 12, no satanic rituals on the premises. Indeed, this is one of the rules. James responds,
Racist.
Hayes goes, Well then, let's roll out. They leave the chopper, yes, they actually have a chopper attached to the changing rooms, and split up. Alpha heads through the jungle terrain and come across a lake. Suddenly, the entire driver family attacks with paintball guns and the team goes into cover. Ryan shouts, Hayes has to survive. Go, get to that chopper. Hayes and James led it while Ryan and MC stay to hold off the drivers. Meanwhile, Bravo is ambushed by Sam and the Polish crew near a waterfall. Reese and Jack lay down suppressing fire while Sarah and Peter get to cover then follow. Peter goes, I'll act as a decoy, you guys take them out while I draw their fire. Before anyone can argue, Peter runs out, firing at the enemies. He is hit multiple times and collapses. The others open fire and decimate the enemy forces. Sam jumps down from a tree and shoots Reese in the legs. Jack tackles Sam off the edge and both fall into the river below. Sarah helps Reese up and the two continue without Peter and Jack. Back with the driver ambush, Ryan is hit in the shoulder and MC drags him to safety. Army of style. Just when it seems that hope is lost, the surface of the water breaks and Big Eric rises from the depths and lays into the drivers with his fully automatic paintball gun. All the driver's son's bar truck are gunned down. MC takes advantage of the confusion and scores a headshot on Highland slave driver. Truck runs but a log swings down and cleans him out. MC goes, your handiwork I presume. Eric replies, yeah, you okay Ryan, you're bleeding man. Ryan responds, I ain't got time to bleed. They go along the river and see Jack and Sam floating down. Eric dives in and drags Jack out. After a short break, the four set out for the evac point. Charlie has no problems. Yeah. James and Hayes find a small shop in the jungle. They approach the in-game merchant and their convoys like this.
Got some rare things on sale, stranger.
I've only got 136 pesetas.
Not enough cash, stranger.
What if I sell something?
What are you selling?
Hayes' soul.
I'll buy it at a high price.
What?
Trust me Hayes, it's the only way. Now for a weapon.
What are you buying?
James points at one weapon in the back, prompting the merchant to be all like,
Stranger? What you need that for? Going hunting an elephant?
What? Sarah and Reese arrive at the river. They are suddenly set upon by Eggman, Jonathan, and Winders. Sarah is gunned down and Reese collapses. He enters last stand and guns down Jonathan. He then passes out. Meanwhile, fuck me am I getting tired of saying that, Nathan Cyril and the mom called Jones are attacked by Grant. He's all like, chicken dippers, chicken dippers. Chicken dippers, chicken dippers, chicken dippers. Nathan sees a box of chicken dippers and fires at it. Grant's all like, no, and dives in front of the box. He is hit by the paintball and hits the floor. He goes, at least, I saved the dippers, and dies. Back with Eric and crew, they come across James and Hayes and Ryan goes, read Hayes lad. James is carrying a big duck-off weapon under a sheet and no one bothers to ask what it is. Suddenly, Sam returns with more of the Polish crew at the bottom of the hill. James goes,
let's rock, baby.
He takes the sheet off to reveal the RPP, rocket-propelled paintball launcher. It fires paintballs attached to rockets. The rocket itself is enough to kill someone but the paintball is just to rub it in their face. It's like, you're dead, and you'll have a blue face for your funeral. Have it. Anyways, he fires and it annihilates the enemy forces. More show up and begin to climb the hill. James hands a bag of weapons to the others and says,
looks like we are not all getting out of this after all.
Hayes goes, no, I won't let you sacrifice your life to save mine. James responds,
I'm not. I'm sacrificing Ryan's life to save you.
Hayes goes, oh, okay then. James straps explosives to Ryan's chest and throws him over the edge and triggers the explosives. There is a huge blast of blue paint and MC screams, no. Eric urges MC to continue onwards. Nathan and crew find Reese being taken away by Eggman and Winders. They open fire and Eggman's automatic is hit, dropping Reese. He flees while shouting, Winders, Kill them. Winters does a running mega jump kick but misses and flies into a tree. He gets laid out and wakes up 5 minutes later. He's all like, what the hell happened, Eggman? Nathan, getting his first line in the series, asks, he was controlling you. Jones adds, like the voice in my head. Cyril's first line is, not quite. He was mind controlled, you were possessed. Big difference. Anyway, we need to find better weapons. Winters goes, I know one. The other crew is walking through the woods when Brown jumps down from up a tree, thinking he's a fucking predator, and face plants into the ground. Epic fail, boys. Then the Dragon Lady returns. Again. Fred, Augie, Eggman, and Peter's former minion Barry pop up out of fucking nowhere with an army of stock cronies. Paintballs come flying down from the sky and the heroes hide. A chopper flies overhead and annihilates the dragon. Gaze takes a grenade out of the bag and throws it. It explodes and blasts the villains with paint. One chunk of plastic hits a dude in the face like shrapnel and takes him out, just as James predicted when told about the grenades. James takes out a mini paintball gun and plows through the rancors. Yes, I meant to say that. It are a reference to a previous episode. Jones jumps out of the chopper and one guy shouts, oh shit. It's the mon called Jones. Cheese it. They try to run but are destroyed by the awesome power of Jones. Gaze takes out a sniper rifle and begins nailing people at long range. Eric takes out a paint machete. You know, a machete with a blade made of wet paint. Somehow. Don't ask. I didn't write this shit. Anyways, he begins to clean house and slashes Fred, but because the blade is made of paint, it goes through him like a lightsaber. Fred's all like, boys. Reese injects himself with his trademark mutagenic steroids and becomes a Shokan once again and proceeds to crunch anything in his path in his roid rage. MC takes out a paint flamethrower. He blasts the enemies with orange paint and destroys them utterly. Nathan, on the chopper gun, is all like, I love the smell of paintball in the morning. Apocalypse now, motherfucker. He wipes out the remaining baddies, leaving only Eggman, Barry, and Augie. Eggman shoots the chopper down so Cyril and Nathan bail out. In the ensuing firefight, Jack and Winters are lost. MC avenges them by doing a super mega death kick which totally annihilates Eggman's testicles. Eric then jump kicks Eggman in the head as vengeance for his wrongdoing. Case then curb stomps Eggman and says, like I said in episode 21, or is that we'll say, anyway, screw you Eggman. You are not my real dad. Augie, Barry, and Brown run off. The heroes proceed toward the evac chopper and are about to board when Eric is hit in the back of the head with a paintball. He turns and goes, soft. He pulls out a smoke grenade and throws it. The villains run out of the smoke but the heroes are gone. They run after them but Brown steps on something. After that, it bounces up and explodes, blasting Augie and Barry with paint. They collapse from the bouncing Betty's blast and Brown continues alone. As he approaches a large rock, Gaze spears him and does the stunner. Brown is then thrown off a cliff and is finally destroyed. The survivors make it to the chopper and escape to the outside. Those that were lost are there to greet them. Big happy birthday Hazel. Sup peeps, we'll begin with an announcement. There will be no swearing in the series from now on.
Go on, swear.
No.
Go on.
No.
You know you want to.
No.
Come on.
Fuck off. Shit.
Lol.
Well, fuck that fucking shit, kids. Let's get the fuck on with this fucking biz match. The heroes have all met up and are gearing up to head out to raise an army to resist the oppression of the machines. The shutters open and they walk out into the Fallout 3 capital wasteland. Gaze sees this and is all like, this is impossible. Ryan goes, well, clearly not since it's happened. James says,
you think this is bad? Wait till you see Devil May Cry 5.
They turn a corner and see Grant in front of a makeshift altar. He says, I'm sorry I forgot you dippers. Please forgive me. Yes, a sacrifice. He turns to the heroes and says, hello. The dippers demand human sacrifice. Who will give their body for the great dippers? James shoots him in the chest and he collapses. The heroes walk over to him and Byrne asks, is he dead? James says,
Yes.
Suddenly, Reese and Jack come round the corner and Reese goes, "Reek lads." Hayes goes, "Hi guys. What you been up to?" Jack says, "We're in the middle of the machine uprising following a nuclear holocaust. What the fuck do you think we've been doing?"
Buddy.
A newly expanded group carry on, fighting off the T-800s along the way. They reach the ruins of Aelred where the main body of resistance is under siege by the machines. The crew enter the fray and wipe out like 409,643 robots. They head inside and meet up with the head of the resistance at Aelred's, Big Eric. They turn back and see that he's not behind them anymore. Eric asks, "What took you so long?" Ignoring this, Eric goes on to say, "Our intel units around the globe have confirmed that no one was hurt in the nuclear attacks." Hayes goes, "Lol." Eric continues, "We're putting together an elite unit to bring down the machines. I want Arnold to lead it." Arnold says,
"Give this job to my friend here. He loves playing in the jungle, right?"
James replies,
"Right, but I want to name the team."
Eric goes, "KK." James goes,
"Our new unit will be called
Every one of us is expendable.
Yeah, probably.
This is the new spin-off of the Aelred Chronicles. This series details Arnold's adventures between his journey through time to his second adventure through time, I guess. Anyway, let's begin. Our tale begins in the year 1968, where young Eric Hazel is on a mission in the States. He's infiltrated a terrorist organization with his supreme disguise skills. Eric is called up to receive the Terrorist of the Year award for his so-called hard work. He takes this chance to grab the terrorist leader and hold him hostage. All the cronies take out their weapons to kill Eric. Suddenly, there's a big ball of light. Here it is, when he appears and is all like,
Get down.
and shoots the terrorist bitches with dual Uzis. Eric is still alive and so is the... Never mind. A load more goons show up, but our new tag team has run low on ammo, so Arnold goes.
Come with me if you want to live.
They let it. End of. They get back to Eric's crib and Arnold explains his origins to Eric. Eric instantly believes this tale of magic and evil robots from the future and says, "Rito, let's take these fuckers down." They set out to find the order of the text. Arnold becomes a bodybuilder as cover while Eric opens a dojo to train the next generation of warriors for the coming battles. After 2 months, Eric overhears 2 of his students talking about how they're going to a recruiting rally for the order of the text. Eric immediately calls Arnold, who arrives approximately 2.56 seconds later and grabs the goons and says,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
One goon makes the mistake of talking back to the Arnold with, "Why should I?" Arnold responds,
I can break your neck like a chicken's.
The goon shits his kecks and tells them. They head to the location after killing the goons and donning their outfits. They walk right into the meeting area where the boss is going off on one about how the text will rule the world. After about 5 whole seconds of his shit, Arnold goes,
Enough talk.
He takes out his shotgun and starts shooting dudes left and right. Literally. Eric just stands there watching the mayhem unfold. When Arnold's done, he and Eric leave with a list of locations of other bases. With this, they can now find more guys to kill in hilarious fashion. They head to location number 2, St. Aelred's, where most of our favorite characters' parents are attending school. Eric poses as a student while Arnold gets a job as a PE teacher. They use this cover to investigate the premises. During this time, Eric becomes friends with James's dad Peter, Ryan's dad Big Pete, and Burns' dad Barry. Arnold eventually discovers a hidden missile silo underneath the school, much like the one at Sully's. He informs Eric, who has already recruited Peter, Big Pete, and Barry into their team. The crew heads down and finds a large warehouse that is building an army of robots. Big Pete is all like, "What the hell are these things?" Arnold responds,
Cybernetic organism, living tissue over a metal endoskeleton.
Peter says, "Let's destroy them then." They go in guns blazing and take out all the bots in the area. After they wipe them out, all of them, they are greeted by a familiar face. To us, not to them. He says,
Greetings, fools. I am Rector Ruffle, also known as the Royal Ruffle. Prepare to die.
Arnold says to him,
You want to fuck with me?
You think you know bad, huh? You're a fucking choir boy compared to me! A choir boy!
The heroes start randomly throwing things at him and he retreats. Eric shouts, "Let's go kick his ass." They chase him around the school in hilarious fashion until he hides in the changing room. See how it's all coming together now? They follow him in and start searching for him. He jumps out of the showers and starts shooting. Arnold stands in front of the others and takes all the bullets for them. He turns and says,
You are stupid.
and goes to lay him out. However, Raffle uses a device to disable the Arnold's CPU. He turns to see that the crow had disappeared. He checks the showers but no one's there. They'd actually gone through a door and hidden in the PE office. They gear up and head out to face their foe. Barry has a rounder's bat, Peter has a pair of crutches, Big Pete has a metal tennis racket, and Eric has a folding chair. They head out with their new weapons, ready to munch this bitch. He sees them standing there all badass and such and is all like,
Who the fuck do you guys think you are?
Barry says, the guys who are gonna kick your fucking head in. They attack with their assorted weapons. After a few minutes of fighting, Peter goes all ninja on Raffle's ass with the crutches, allowing Big Pete to smash Raffle on the head with the racket. He staggers back and is laid out with Eric's chair. As he is about to get up, Barry destroys him by smashing his face in with the bat. It's not as gory as it sounds cause he's a robot. Raffle's spirit rises and goes sick with,
I will have my revenge on you, and your children. Even if it takes 30 years and I have to possess a knife, a noob, a teacher and a number of shoes to do it.
Eric responds, yeah, like that'll happen. The wraith dissipates and the heroes go back to check on the Arnold. They find that he is still disabled. They take him back to their hideout, Eric's house. So what will happen to Arnold? To find out, you'll just have to tune into the next episode of the Aelred Chronicles. Fucking K boys. Help, I've fallen, and I can't get up. Last time, James became the leader of a new Spec Ops team called the Expendables. Now, he leads this team to Alton Towers to liberate it from the machines. The crew arrive and meet up with their contact, Andy from Year 10. When they arrive he's all like, Hazel, why do you suck cock? Gaze replies, I don't know. And he goes, oh you don't know? Gaze bellows to the heavens, fuck off, and nuts Andy. They enter the park and split up. James, Ian and Craig go to the castle since James knows its layout from Series 1. Hayes, Ryan and MC head to the Hex since Hayes and Ryan have been in it. And Tom, Byrne and Spence go to KFC since it's the only other recognizable place from Series 1. James group right at the castle and James uses his snake cam to look under the door. He sees the SWAT unit from Series 2 inside. He says,
looks like the SWAT unit's working for the text. Set a breach charge.
Craig, the team's demolitions expert, sets a breach charge on the door. He detonates it on James' signal and the group mows down the enemy. Once all the nasty wasties are dead, they hear someone on the other side of a door saying, you're in my way, sir. Someone else shouts,
what? Oh, eat my shit, Jackson, you stupid fucking fuck whistle.
The door opens and a flashbang is thrown into the doorframe and bounces back at the SWATs outside.
Ah, you fool!
James goes in and starts shooting. He sees one other SWAT in the back of the room and is all like,
I'm guessing the critic sent you.
The other guy takes his mask off to reveal the Spoony one. Spoony exposits that the nostalgia critic has gathered all his homies and formed a resistance force in America and sent members out on a number of tasks. Spoony was sent to infiltrate the SWAT unit and bring them down from the inside. He joins the party and they set out for the roof. They slaughter many random generic dudes on the way and reach the top with a total kill count of 5,226. James decides to split the team up. He and Ian will go to the roof and take out the SWAT leader while Craig and Spoony set explosives around the castle. James and Ian head out in super stealth mode and start picking off the random SWATs one by one. Eventually, the 6 remaining SWATs realize that 42 guys had just vanished into thin air. They start shooting in random directions so our heroes duck behind cover. Ian does an epic knife throw that kills one dude but gives away their position. The SWATs start to converge on their position. Meanwhile, Craig is setting the last of the explosives when they hear a sound outside the room. Spoonie goes to check it out while Craig finishes. Craig goes to check on Spoonie but gets assaulted by machines. He has no choice but to pull out and hope the others can get out too. He contacts James and explains the situation. James goes sick and jumps out of cover and charges the enemy. He punches one dude and he flies over the edge. He kicks another dude in the balls and he goes. He kicks another dude in the head. He turns to the next guy and does an epic jump punch like in the Expendables trailer. James grabs the leader and throws him into a load of cardboard boxes. They head down, fighting off the machines as they go. They get out and meet up with Craig. James asks,
"Where's Spoonie?"
Craig responds, "He's still inside." James goes,
"Fuck, we'll give him 5 minutes. If he's not out, we'll have no choice."
They hold off the enemy for 4.5 minutes. Suddenly, Spoonie comes running out of the castle. James shouts,
"He's out. Blow the fucking building."
Craig detonates the explosives and a huge blast sends Spoonie flying through the air in epic slow-mo. He lands and is fine. Turns out he was in an epic battle with robots and SWATs that is too costly for our crappy low-budget show. Now, we follow Ryan Hayes and MC as they enter the hex. As they go in, Hayes sees the video and is all like, "Well, good graphics lad." MC says, "Oh Hayes." They go over to a door and open it. They enter an area that looks like an airport. A bunch of random generic cronies go past with guns. Ryan sees this and says, "Yo for show, let's cap them funkies." MC goes, "Yeah, you're not black mate." They take out their guns and start shooting dudes in a scene that in no way resembles Time Crisis 4. They shoot down a load of dudes but are then besieged by little insect robots called terabytes. Again, in no way like Time Crisis 4. They fall back through a door and lock it behind them. They turn and see the most horrible sight ever witnessed by man. An army of Fred clones. In unison they go, "Alright boys, where's Burn?" Suddenly, they hear a bell ring. They turn and see Winters approaching on a bicycle. You know, the pink one with stabilizers and a basket on the front. He goes, "I want to ride my bicycle," and is immediately clotheslined by Hayes. Winters goes, "Hi guys, what's up?" Ryan helps him up and Winters is all like, "Come with me if you want to live." The crew run through a conveniently placed door and lock it. Inside the room is another legend of Aelred's, a man known only by the code name of Hippo. Hippo explains, the Fred army was devised by the text as a quick method of creating cannon fodder with no will of its own. Hence the choice of Fred. MC asks, "Who's heading the project?" Hippo responds, "Ref." Ryan's all like, "Ref. He must be destroyed." Hippo, in his typical sage-like fashion says, "I agree." They gear up. I've been saying that a lot lately, haven't I? They gear up and head out, advancing a bit, stopping, shooting enemies and repeating. They fight through super fat Freds that can survive holes in their bellies, ninja Freds with knives, axe-wielding Freds that look exactly like the dude from Nickelback, and a giant security guard Fred with a club. They fight their way through all these dudes and reach the cloning facility. They are ambushed by a female Fred wearing nothing but bandages. It says, "Alright boys, if I weren't myself I'd do me." Hippo dropkicks this travesty into a conveniently placed generator and electrocutes it. Wrath enters and is all like, "Fools, prepare to feel the wrath of Wrath." Hayes asks, "So you're working for the text? Why would you betray your own species?" Wrath replies, "Allow me to enlighten you, in the most appropriate manner." Music starts playing in the background. Hippo goes, "If you start a musical number I swear I'm going to stab you." The music stops and Wrath bellows, "You fools. You will all pay for your insolence." He injects himself with the T-virus and mutates into a tyrant. Not that kind of tyrant. That's better. He goes sick with his signature roar.
Rah! What you doing, Mr. Volcano?
The crew run around in circles shooting aimlessly until its weak point is exposed. However, due to the instant banning of videos with mature content, we cannot legally show the weak point here. Basically, they fill it with lead and the tyrant goes
Conkers!
in pain. He mutates into a new form. They do the same thing as last time and it is defeated again. It turns into a blob. Ryan goes, how the hell do we kill this thing? Suddenly, they hear someone shout, guys, up here. They look up to see someone who clearly isn't a previously established character that is presumed dead. This clearly unknown character throws down a rocket launcher. Ryan takes the launcher and fires it at Raph's new weak point. It hits and Raph is reverted back to his original form. Winters asks, if he kept changing into a lesser being, why did he change back? Hippo replies, cause he is a lesser being than a blob of goo. The rest go, oh. Raph gets up and goes, not yet Hippo. It's not over yet. He retreats into a hangar. The crew follow and he gets into a cargo plane that goes down the runway. The crew get in a jeep and pursue. Raph takes out a minigun and starts shooting. They hide behind cover and take shots at him, scoring a load of headshots but not killing him. Again, in no way like Time Crisis 4, he is eventually defeated after about 5 shots from the rocket launcher. He falls out the plane and lands on the runway as the plane takes off. He gets up with his minigun and prepares to shoot the crew when he is hit by a badly drawn ambulance. MC goes, oh the irony. Gaze goes, looks like he just felt our ref. Now, we finally get to the epic scene of Burn Tom and Spence decking people for no reason. They head to KFC. Guess who this E? That's right. You guessed it. This E, not Grant. Lol. Then this Grant, lol again. Grant's all like, chicken dippers. You guys want some? Burn does a running mega jump kick and destroys Grant's dippers. Grant goes, no, my sexy prawns. You all pay. Spence queries, isn't that always your response to this kind of thing? Yet you never win. Tom adds, can't deny that. Grant enters dipper mode where his hair goes all Super Saiyan and his eyes go red. He thinks he's proper sound cause he has the power of the dippers. The heroes dive for cover behind the counter. Spence goes, what the fuck is this? Grant shouts, call me Demon Man Mr. Demon Dude. Tom asks, is this guy for real? Burn goes, don't worry lads, I've got an idea. He takes out his phone and calls James. There is clearly a proper buzzing party going on in the background. They're convoys like this.
Oh hi.
Alright lad. You got any ideas on how to beat Demon Man Mr. Demon Dude?
What?
Got any ideas?
Kick him in nads?
KK lad. Cheers pal.
Wait a minute, who the fuck's Demon Man Mr. Demon Dude?
Burn goes, right lads. This is the plan. We kick him in the testicles. Tom goes, of course. It was so obvious. Spence jumps over the counter, flips through the air and kicks Grant in the balls, destroying them utterly. Grant is all like, it was. He then explodes. For no reason. Lol. The crew go to the back and find a new challenge. One of the random generic Fred clones escaped from captivity and started robbing all the food. He sees them and goes, alright boys. Where's, I'll kill your ass foo. The heroes go to cover on the other side of the counter. Spence gets out his phone and calls James. They're convoys like this.
Oh hi there.
Right lad. Your plan worked.
It did?
Yeah. Demon Man Mr. Demon Dude's dead. Cheers lad.
Hey.
By the way.
Yeah?
How do we kill the evil generic Fred clone who's hiding out in the back of KFC?
Kick him in face.
Okay thanks bye.
Wait a minute, what the fuck are evil generic Fred clones?
Spence goes, right lads. The plan is, kick him in face. Tom flips over the counter, jumps through the air and kicks the clone in the face. It collapses and is all like, if I weren't disfigured I'd do me, and dies. The crew continues and finds yet another horror. Robo-Egg. He goes, sup putos, gays. Bring me Ace now. Robo-Egg starts firing so they take cover. Tom rings James and their convoys like this.
Fuck my life, what you want now?
Hi James. How's kids?
Fine. What are you really after?
The restoration of the era when warriors such as us lived as we should.
That was Big Boss's fantasy.
Indeed. We need help beating Robo-Egg.
Robo, fuck it. Just smack him in god.
Cheers mate.
This is gonna be a running gag in it.
Indeed. Burn does the thing and punches Robohead in the face. Robohead cracks open and our heroes leave. Burn's all like, random. Stance goes, true dat. Tom says, yep. The end.
Who the hell are these people?
Change. You got change. So come on, help a guy out, will ya? Come on, change.
Sam, you buzzin'?
You. I've been waiting here for work since October 2011. What do you want?
I'm here 'cause I'm going to do another episode. It's time, Sam. It's time.
You think you can just come here after nearly a year and expect me to just forgive you and take part?
Yeah.
Okay. The Expendables reunite with their new members, Spoonie Winders and Hippo, and Hayes calls for evac. As they wait, an army of robots led by Prince PMSL Raph Grant and Fred attacks. Our heroes get ready to fight their enemies with various weapons and badass super moves. They all start fighting robots while James fights PMSL, Burn and Stance fight Grant, Tom and Spoonie fight Fred, and Hayes MC and Ryan fight Raph. James is doing wicked cool moves against PMSL, who's all like,
"Why do you continue to resist our rule and our new voices?"
James replies,
"'Cause I'm Batman." Wait, no, I'm not. What the hell am I talking about?
Grant meanwhile is trying to kill Burn and Stance. He declares, "I am the avatar of the Dippers." Stance goes, "Is this guy for real?" Grant eats a dipper and enters his super mode once more. He is immediately punched in the balls by Burn and loses his super mode. Grant then bellows, "You cannot defeat me, fools. I am here to bring the salvation of the Dippers." Stance goes, "Salvate this, bitch." He jumps up and punches Grant into the earth so hard he flies through the earth's crust and comes out at a 45-degree angle. Over to the badass mofos taking on the Raph. Raph takes out his minigun and starts shooting. The crew get to cover and take shots when they can. Some of Raph's bullets nearly hit Winders, who goes, "Whoa, what'd you do that for? Coulda killed me." He nuts one of the robots he's fighting and throws it at Raph, distracting him. Winders then runs in and punches Raph in the face. Ryan observes, Winders has gone into Spliff mode. Hayes says, Darth Spliff has returned. Winders disarms Raph and throws him toward the other dudes. Raph gets up to have a fight and Hayes says, "Get back, I know a rookie." MC goes, "Hilka, wait, what?" Winders and Hayes then proceed to lay the smack-f down upon Raph's candy ass and leave his ass for dead. Tom and Spoonie are doing pretty good against Fred, but he summons an army of clones to engage them. They're all like, "Alright boys, watch the paladin." Spoonie flips his shit and shouts,
"You motherfucker! I will punch you in the fucking soul, you fucking asshat!"
and proceeds to do so. All the clones then explode. For no reason. With Fred, Raph and Grant defeated, all that remains is PMSL. James spears him off the platform and they land among the carnage. PMSL summons his new minion, a robot that looks exactly like the robot from Series 2, because it's easy to recycle sprites and also because we're too lazy to come up with something new. James inquires,
"Who the fuck's this arsehole?"
PMSL replies,
"He is your death."
James responds,
"That's just silly."
The robot shoots him in the face and he collapses. He then has an epic quest through the bowels of hell to return, which all passes in about 3 seconds on Earth. He gets back up and PMSL is all like,
"How did you survive?"
James replies,
"I didn't. I'm just too cool to stay dead."
He axe kicks the robot and it explodes. He then grabs PMSL and then uses his Fist of Epic Justice, trademark, to finish PMSL off. He then meets up with the others as evac choppers piloted by the Arnold and Big Brankin show up. As they leave, Craig asks, "So you really died?" James replies,
"Yeah, buddy."
Ian asks, "What was it like?" James replies,
"I can't tell you."
Tom asks, "Why not?" James responds,
"Spoilers."
We open up to the crew kicking some ass when Grant shows up and is all like, "You fools. I have been granted power by the Dippers. You all now feel their wrath." He injects himself with mutagenic steroids and goes, "Chicken dippers, chicken nuggets, chicken burgers, chicken burgers, chicken booties, chicken fudge, chicken product," and his head explodes. For no reason. Ignoring this, James turns to Hayes and asks,
What time is it?
Fred enters the scene and replies, "Time to die, boys." James responds,
AM or PM?
Fred jumps up but Hayes spears him in midair and he explodes. For no reason. They return to base where Big Eric Hazel has gathered all the troops. He says to them, the time has come for the final assault on the machines. Ryan whispers, but we're only a third of the way through Series 3. Byrne responds, it's cause me main man James can't be arsed writing more of this story. Eric continues, this war has gone on long enough. Tom whispers, it's only been going on 3 hours. Eric goes, shut up over there. This is important. We're going to assault the enemy base which we now know the location of for some reason, and we're going to destroy all of the machines with Byrne's super mega ultra plan of uploading files with ridiculous file names into Skynet's database. Byrne goes, yeah buddy. They set off in a huge army consisting of the Newton Expendables, the official Expendables, the teachers, and Big Eric. There are other guys but no one cares about them. They arrive at a building with a big neon sign that says, Skynet's secret base, SHHHHHHH. Byrne asks, how did we not find this before now? James replies,
cause nearly everyone in this series is a stupid douche.
They head inside and enter a lobby like in the Matrix, where they encounter a bunch of robots led by Raph and Forshaw. Hippo says, lot of originality in these villains, ain't there? James replies,
don't judge me bruh.
Raph takes out his minigun and Forshaw takes out a syringe. Spence goes, yeah, if I was against all of us I'd want to be high too. Forshaw replies, you fool. These are mutagenic steroids. The legend known as Brankin replies, like the ones Grant took. Forshaw responds, no, the mutagenic steroids were evidently too powerful. I will instead use the original mutagenic steroids. He shoots up and turns into a centaur, just like his avatar because we're too lazy to come up with something new. Even jokes about our inability to come up with something new. Hayes is all like, I see your mutagenic steroids and I raise your raw caffeine. He takes out a tin of coffee beans and downs it in one go. He becomes hyper as fuck and starts decking fools left and right. James goes, and the heroes follow Hayes' lead. Hippo, Byrne and Spence go up against Raph, Ryan, Hayes, Winters and Brankin take 4 shots, and everyone else fights the robots. Raph shoots at Byrne since he's the chosen one, but Hippo takes the bullets for him. Hippo, being Sazard, merely shrugs off the attack and goes, at it kid. He kicks the minigun from Raph's hands and Spence throws his Kung Lao at. Hippo does a mega cool matrix dodge and the hat slices through Raph's midsection. Byrne then does a running mega jump kick on his upper body, causing it to fly off and explode. For no reason. Meanwhile, Hayes is so hyper, he's gone into his own split mode variation, Quick mode, with Darth Split and Darth Quick reunited after 3 years. Some fool done die. They fly around the area, getting in kicks from time to time, while Ryan and Brankin prepare something special. Brankin pulls out his super special cross-shaped rocket launcher and Ryan loads it with special anti-mutagenic steroid formula-coated rockets. Once it's loaded, Brankin's all like, Forshaw ya joker, suck on this. He fires the shot and it collides with Raph and doesn't explode. For no wait what? That's a first, so Hayes goes and punches the rocket so hard it finally does explode. With the 2 major cronies dead and the evil robots taken out, the heroes head up the building to the top floor where Skynet's CPU resides. Everyone is armed with a memory stick with a bunch of files that will auto-upload when plugged into Skynet's USB port, but it only has one so they have to do it one at a time. Skynet goes,
I in the future. You will all die at the hands of my evil robot minions.
Jason Statham goes,
10 seconds, you won't believe what's gonna happen.
And everyone fights the robots as they enter, except Ryan, who uploads his files first. After about half the files are uploaded, Grant comes back and goes, the Dippers have given me an even greater power now. He injects himself with mutagenic tiger blood that he stole from Charlie Sheen, and transforms into a tiger shogun known as Gitaro. He punches Stallone so hard he flies across the room to Terry Crews, who's dominating with his AA-12. Crew asks,
"What happened to you?"
Stallone replies,
"Got my ass kicked."
So their homies show up and the five take on Gitaro in an average top-down shooter. He bellows, "I am the avatar of the Dippers. You cannot defeat me." Big Terry walks up and lifts Gitaro up and performs a backbreaker on the mofo, destroying him utterly. Other random minor villains pop up and are defeated. Then a robot sniper tries to take the man Hayes out, but he is saved by the sudden arrival of Coach Driver. He goes, "I can't allow you to die here, Hayes. Your destiny is far too important." Seriously? That's the big payoff for that Resident Evil parody a while ago.
Yup.
Whatevs, brah. So the only one left with files to upload is the Chosen One himself, Chris Byrne. He goes to insert his USB, but Fred magically returns again to act as the final obstacle. Fred's all like, "Alright Byrne. Where's boys?" Byrne does a running mega super duper ultra special one of a kind ultimate never before seen amazing final awesome spectacular unstoppable undefinable unbelievable unpredictable kick in the balls and inserts his USB and cut to black. What? That ends on a goddamn cliffhanger.
Blame Ryan, mate. It were his idea like.
Ryan, you fucking Jew, what you doing?
Hey, watch your fucking language, you fag.
What you got against the gays, nigga?
I called you a cigarette, you anti-Semitic douche.
Fuck you. So what happens next?
This was it for the series before this re-edit. Now, we move into the brand new finale for the story. It's like Boyhood. It took 12 years to make.
What you on about, you hack?
You've seen the show in SD. You've seen it in HD. Now, prepare your buttholes for Ultra HD.
The upload fails and everyone has to do it again. Fucking Windows 98. Ryan finishes uploading his files and Byrne walks over and is all like, "Ryan, ya loser. Give in to the power of the text." James walks over and says,
"That's not Byrne. It's a alien from space."
Byrne laughs and morphs back into Grant and is all like, "So you saw through my deception. But do not underestimate the power of the Dippers." James responds,
"Eat a dick, you fucking spanner."
Grant shouts, "Dip laws. Give me the power to destroy my enemies." Grant tries to take James' soul but he's all like,
"Joke's on you, buddy. I'm a YouTuber. I don't have a soul."
Grant exclaims, "No. The Dippers have failed me yet again. Why the fuck do I still worship them?" James says,
"There's still time to change your wicked ways, Grant."
Grant responds, "Yeah lad. I'm going home to whip my dick out in Omegle." James sighs and says,
"Not this shit again."
Meanwhile, Byrne is assaulted by Lord Ulnau, who has returned in his final form. Ulnau says,
"You die this time, Byrne."
Byrne responds, "No thanks pal." He does a super cool mega ultra super kick combo that cripples Ulnau's candy ass. Then, he rips him into and uses him as a puppet to command the other robots to shut down. Jesus Christ, when did this series get so violent?
Where the fuck have you been, mate?
Byrne's plan doesn't work, but it confuses the robots just long enough for Skynet to blow up, destroying the robots for good. But the war is not over yet. The evil minions must be destroyed once and for all. Carl walks in and is all like, "Me and me cronies are gonna beat you losers up." Hayes walks in and replies, "I'll get wrecked, you scrub," and beats him up with nunchucks. Carl says, "Lol, I got wrecked. Cronies, go beat this guy up." Too scared to face the crazy guy with nunchucks, the cronies flee. Carl says, "Damn, I guess I shouldn't have picked a bunch of pussy internet trolls to back me up." Hayes asks, "Who even uses the word troll like that anymore, you boomer?" Carl says, "Lol, I'm a zoomer, check out my speed." Hayes hits him easily and Carl says, "Go jump off a bridge, you loser." Hayes replies, "Lead by example, you fucking coward." Carl says, "Very well," and jumps into a nearby hook that lowers him into acid, and he dies horribly. Lol. Ryan is nearby, pecking more evil losers, when Fred shows up and says, "Cease boys, before you doom us all." Ryan replies, "Go fuck your sister or something." Fred responds, "I would, if I could boys." Ryan says, gross, and proceeds to lay the smackers down upon Fred's candy ass. Fred then explodes. For no reason, Grant returns and is all like, fuck the dippers. I got me some mutagenic steads lads. He injects himself and becomes Diptero once again. Sadly, our budget does not allow us to do anything with him, so we jump to lower fidelity footage of Spence tearing him apart to eliminate Grant for good. Wrath shows up, now with a full cyborg body. He approaches MC and is all like, come at me scrub, I will shoot you with my gun. MC responds, yeah whatever, and freezes Wrath with magical ice powers he has now for some reason. He then slices Wrath's head clean off. Lol. Meanwhile, the Dragon Lady appears to confront James. Suddenly, Arnold shows up and sounds fucking nothing like Arnold, but he says,
how are you back from the dead?
oh, no one dies for real in this show.
Still, my mission remains unchanged.
He shoots the dragon and she explodes, for a very good reason. Then, James is confronted by his true nemesis, Twindell. She is surrounded by her dumbass supporters who buy into the bullshit story she peddles. James easily eradicates these dumb fools and faces Twindell herself. They have a NetherRealm pre-fight intro that goes like this.
Quan Chi hurt you badly.
Not as badly as you destroying the best character arc in the series.
I offer the pleasure of serving me.
Sorry love, I'm not a femdom simp.
Bow down, or be made to.
Suck my hole clean you fucking douche.
Twindell screams, but James fucking destroys her like the one good fatality in MK11. Hayes turns to Bernie and says, I thought this was set in 2008. Byrne replies, yeah lol. He then finishes the upload of the final files, which causes Skynet to explode. The only villain that remains is Augie, who has finally got Big Johnny on his side. Augie is all like, oh Ricklar, I'm here to wreck your bums. Byrne responds, no tar. He does a funny little dance to distract Augie, allowing the sage hippo to twat him with lightning powers he has for no reason. Big Johnny shouts, I am he who must win. I am the one true Khan. Spence shows up in HD and goes all Yip Man upon his candy ass. With the Super Agio brothers dealt with, all the bad guys worth bringing back for the epic climax are defeated. Well, all except Eggman, but who gives a shit about him really? The heroes head back to base, where Big Eric Hazel is waiting to congratulate them on saving the world. Big Eric takes Hayes aside to tell him that his true parentage arc was all an elaborate scheme cooked up by Mrs. Hazel and the Driver family to fuck with Eggman in petty vengeance for his attempts to take Big Eric's place in the Hazel family. Hayes takes it surprisingly well. Chris Byrne is hailed as a hero for the part he played in ending the Order of the Text and their generic evil schemes. Ryan and Hayes form the Ginger Coalition to maintain order. The Hollywood movie casts black actors as all of them because Hollywood hates gingers. Spence continues to buzz like a bee. MC is around somewhere, probs on Sly. Arnold returns to his own time, the dark future averted. He becomes the new threat when he gets mad salt in all the Virgin Arnold vs. Chad Stallone memes NK fans make in 2020. James dedicates himself to exposing how bad NetherRealm Studios games are, eventually discovering that stupidity is a tool of Chronica, whom he defeats in single combat with no trouble because her moveset fucking sucks, and then uses the hourglass to erase stupidity forever. And as for me, your heroic narrator Microsoft Sam, with the show over, I guess I'll die. Fuck you. This is the story of the truck driver who put his finger up at some guys from our school. He puts up his finger and he's all like, yeah I put my finger up at a bunch of kids, fucking well hard meme hurt. Then he goes home and tells his mom. He's all like, yeah mom, I put me finger up at a bunch of kids, fucking well hard. And his mom goes, what have I told you about putting your finger up at little kids? Dad get in here. And his dad comes in and goes, what the fuck have you been doing to little kids? And he takes his belt off so the guy's all like, no daddy no.